I'm Chris Verlotti to Sactown Sports Headlines. Sacramento Kings went 1-1 on their short road trip, losing their final game 123-119 to the Dallas Mavericks. For more on last night's game, check out our Kings insider Frankie Cardozelli's recap on SactownSports.com. Kings will be back home tomorrow night for their final home game of the regular season against the Golden State Warriors. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023 Masters starts today, and currently the leaderboard is only one, Victor Hovland. He's 7 under through 13 holes. It's stacked up at second place, and tied for 63rd is Tiger Woods, 3 over par. Your Masters update is brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality. Those are your headlines. Now it's time for Deuce and Mo.
Live from Sacramento.
It's Deuce and Mo
On Sactown Sports.
We are live. Happy Thursday. Deuce Mason. No, Morgan Reagan today. She's on assignments.
Works.
You gotta play. You stopped playing it.
No Morgan, dude show.
Dude show, indeed. Deuce Mason,
Testosterone.
Chris Watkins, Chris Verla. We're gonna be hanging out for the next couple of hours. Lot to go over today.
Golf? We doing golf hour?
Oh yeah, actually, we're gonna lead with
yeah.
that. The Masters going on.
Beautiful game.
Right now. Look, I'm not anti-Masters. I'll watch if I have zero to do, and if it's on and I could take a nap to it, sure. But people get into it. It's fine. I'm not gonna hate on it.
Yeah, Jason
It's a cool
Ross likes
event.
it, you know.
Built
Just
on
not for us.
No.
Built on racism. But I mean,
Yeah, it's fine. Just no, I got nothing more to add. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's not great. Not great.
Well, we'll sprinkle in some. There's interesting things with the Masters that we can maybe throw in today. But let's lead off with what happened last night in Dallas. The Kings fall on the road, 123-119. So many angles in this one. And I went back, of course, this morning and started watching some things.
As you do.
2 things I decided I was going to watch.
Mm-hmm.
What Kyrie Irving did in the fourth quarter and the Kings offense in the third quarter. Because I feel like everyone's talking about the officials today. We can't have that discussion. But if your big lead on this game was the officials cost the Kings the game. No, it was bad offense in the third quarter and Kyrie Irving taking over.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much just that exactly. I think the Kings had 48 points in the second half in total. They scored 44 points just in the second quarter. I mean, the Mavericks definitely came out that second half with a different game plan, different intensity. And you just mentioned Kyrie Irving. In my opinion, that game was about Kyrie Irving just taking over. And he kind of single-handedly won the game for Dallas in that fourth quarter.
Here's the thing. It was a sneak preview of what could come playoff time.
I feel that same exact way. And it hurt me watching it because I had that same thought, that same realization mid-game of just like, this is what happens in a Warrior series. I mean, this is the fear of a Warrior series of, maybe we do feel like the Kings, player for player, team for team might have the advantage, but this is the reason why stars are so important. Stars seem to matter 2 to 3 times more in games like they had last night in playoff intensity games. And, you can have somebody just go ridiculous and put up a performance like Kyrie did last night, and there's nothing you can really do about it when somebody's playing at that level.
Yeah, and I'm watching him, and some of the stuff, I think the Kings let the officials get to their heads a little bit, but in that fourth quarter when Kyrie's taken over, when they got into the half court, what were they doing? He went big game hunting, and this is what they do in the playoffs, right?
Yep.
They're trying to find any mismatch they can get. The good news, Kyrie Irving doesn't look at De'Aaron Fox as someone that he can expose defensively. The bad news is he's going to find a way to get De'Aaron off of him.
Yeah.
And the Kings were switching. So what was Kyrie Irving looking for? Kevin Huerter and Domantas Sabonis. And get ready because that's what's going to happen come playoff time.
Yep.
How can the Kings adjust to that? What can they do? I think part of it too is don't switch. Don't switch. You got it. You got to navigate those screens. And I'm not saying it's easy, but don't switch that.
You can't switch everything for sure.
You cannot give them those matchups.
Yeah. I think that they just don't have the personnel to really do it. And this is exactly why the Kings having a porous defense is an issue. And this is why it would be nice to have a little bit more length than what they do. But you have to deal with the cards that you're given. And I completely agree with you. I think it's become commonplace in the NBA now where it is just switch everything. And that's kind of just the custom go-to. But it's going to be on Mike Brown to look at his team and look at film like last night and probably come to the conclusion we just don't have the personnel on, especially with their closing lineup, to switch everything. You can't, because in the playoffs, Kevin Huerter's going to get put into that blender repeatedly. Domantas Sabonis, it's the same reason why they say Rudy Gobert is unplayable in the postseason. I think Domas does a lot better job on the perimeter than Gobert does, but it can play him off the floor. It absolutely can, or it can get him in foul trouble as well. So I definitely don't think that switching is the way to go for this team.
And I think if you do have to switch, then the help has to be there. You can't let Domas go one-on-one trying to defend Kyrie. Yeah. Kyrie's just that good. He's going to create a shot. He's going to get past him. And even I like Kevin Huerter had some times where when he got switched, it wasn't too bad, but Kyrie's going to blow by him. And there's nothing Kevin can do about it. So where is the help? The help wasn't there. And it's going to be interesting. I think the Kings can adjust from this for sure. And this is great, again, that they're going through this during before the playoffs start, because this Dallas team came out desperate in the third quarter. They came out, and I give them a lot of credit. I feel like they came out understanding what they had to do, and it was we have to win this game if we have a chance to even get in the play-in. They played with desperation. Kyrie made big-time plays, and I thought the Kings did not handle things well in that third quarter. Yeah,
I also think that a big fault of the Kings is you have to know against the team. I mean, Dallas's Achilles heel all since they've made this trade is not – Luka and Kyrie have been great since this trade has happened. They're not the problem. They're going to get their numbers. You can't let Tim Hardaway Jr. get 24 points. You can't let him get loose the way he does. Jalen Green, why does Jalen Green like to do this to Sacramento?
You're talking about Josh Green.
Yes, Josh Green. I'm sorry. Josh Green does this every single time it feels like the Kings play the Dallas Mavericks. So to me, that's another huge fault of the Kings, where just you can't let Dallas's other guys get going, because after Luka and Kyrie, that should realistically be it. You shouldn't let anybody else beat you.
Yeah, it was weird feeling it. Just watching it back this morning, I had more of an issue with the offense than the defense. And for as talented as a team as they are offensively, there are sometimes they just get into some bad habits. And I felt like last night in that third quarter, when Dallas is coming out playing physical, it was if Sabonis had the ball down low, they're collapsing. They were really trying to protect the paint after giving up 40 points in the paint in that first half. And if Sabonis kicked it out, the first guy who touched it was shooting it. Yeah. And I'm like, put the ball on the floor, make the defense react, make the extra pass. The first shot's not always the best shot. And I think they let him off the hook. To me, it's inexcusable that Keegan Murray, who had 11 points in the second quarter, who looked like he was impacting the game, was 4 of 8 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3 in the second quarter. He finished with 11 points, 4 of 8, 2 of 5 from 3-point line. Like, that can't happen. This is a guy who was legitimately one of the better shooters in the NBA, and you guys are settling offensively. And then what happens when you're missing shots? They're getting out in transition. Kyrie's making things happen, and he destroyed them.
Yeah, he definitely did. I completely agree with you about the Keegan point too, where it's like you have to find it's on everybody. It's on Keegan. It's on his teammates as well for not finding him. But Keegan does have to. That's where I want to see him grow to is just being a little bit more aggressive and looking for his game a little more. But also De'Aaron Fox, 2 of 11 in that second half. I didn't love a lot of the shots. I did feel like maybe you can use the excuses. Second night back to back. Maybe he didn't quite have it tonight, and he shouldn't need to have it every single night for them to find success. But to me, I agree with you. I just didn't. I haven't looked back at it, but I felt like I did not like the shots that they were taking. It did feel like they were settling a lot. Contested jumpers.
And you look at how they played in that second quarter. That was probably one of their best offensive quarters of the year. The ball was moving around. The shooting was great. They had 44 points in that second quarter. I loved what I saw. I mean, the passing from Sabonis was outrageous. Behind the back passes, hitting
just
shots.
That sequence. Oh my God, just that sequence. We saw some incredible plays last night.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyrie Irving's corner 3 to pretty much seal the game to me was that's one of the toughest shots I think I've seen made all season long.
And a great pass by Josh Green.
Yeah, it was a really good find by Josh Green. Just some elite plays last night. But yeah, Sabonis last night, 14th triple-double of the season, ties him with Chris Webber for second in franchise history. He's been incredible all season long, but that sequence as well where, he fakes out, I think it was Maxi Kleba guarding him, and then does the behind the back to Keegan, finds Keegan, and you could see Keegan's face where he really knew that he had to make that and one to finish the highlight. But Sabonis was just incredible last night, but also wanted to see him in that second half be more aggressive offensively and look for his game. I think he only took 2 shots in that second half.
11 shots in the game, and he was 8 of 11.
Right.
Like,
yeah. A lot of the time you want to see him put up 20. What's it look like?
I know, but the one thing I feel like they made it tough. It's just like any team right now. They're just Sabonis gets the ball down there. They know what they have to do, and it's beat the hell out of him, get the ball out of his hands, and that's why it's so on Sacramento to not just take that first shot. And I know it's a delicate balance, right? Because Davion Mitchell feels like he's open for 3. Yeah. I would make the case. Yeah, they're protecting the paint a little more because they don't believe you're going to make it. I want Davion to shoot open shots, but I think when the ball is moving, there's energy. That's when you get some really good looks because the defense is scrambling, and you never know, you can get an easier look inside.
I did think Dallas did, to their credit, do a good job with playing scramble defense yesterday. There were a couple times where I felt like the Kings were swinging it out on the perimeter, but Dallas was doing a really good job of just covering, being in the right spots, and kind of guarding 2 guys with one man. So, credit Dallas for what they did, but you're completely right, where there were a couple times where not Davion Mitchell specifically, but there were a couple times where it did feel like, they were just taking the first shot available, which, is good in circumstances, but also it's like, if, like you were saying, in a night like last night, especially in that second quarter where the ball's humming the way it is, you'd like to just see that ball movement continue throughout the entire game. And it did feel like that game was played in segments. Like the first quarter was a lot different than the second quarter, which was a lot different than the third, and the fourth was a little similar to the third.
Well, we'll talk more about the game, what we saw. Should the Kings end up resting guys the next 2 games? Are you concerned about that? You guys can hit us up today. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Also in the YouTube feed, youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. Deuce and Mo, no Mo today. We got Chris Watkins in on Sactown Sports 1140. No, I don't. You think I'd remember that by now? Sorry, I just have my water bottle in your.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
How's it going, chat? Next week you'll have it all under control.
Yeah, we'll
next week I might. I'll try to get finished by tomorrow. What does 50 wins actually accomplish? We can talk about that. Yeah, I mean, also. I think the only reason you're not playing people is because you're scared of injury, right? Is that the only reason? Because if you're going to bring up rest, they don't play until maybe Saturday or Sunday. They could have 6 to 7 days off. Yeah,
I guess it would be injury, and I mean, you would just feel pretty. Do you feel dumb if Domas and Fox pick up an injury in these last 2 games? Is it really?
I mean, I hear
hindsight 2020, of course.
Let's just say they don't play.
Yeah.
They're going to have a full week of practice. Mike Brown's not letting them just hang out for a week. They're not going on vacation. Yeah. Hey, take the next few days off. They're in the gym playing, dude.
Yeah, Monday through Friday will definitely be a practice. So that is a good point for sure, because there is a lot. And I've even seen people talk. How do you feel? I mean, maybe we can talk about it on the show, but I see a lot of people, because I haven't looked at the numbers exactly, but it does look like Fox and Sabonis have played less minutes than what they typically would.
They have lately,
which is interesting, because it's kind of like, well, if you're, I don't know, we'll talk about
it. Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Deuce Mason, no Morgan Reagan. She will be back tomorrow. Why did I had a piece of granola in my throat. That was really a weird sound. Oh my goodness.
These are the hazards of hosting live.
Man. Deuce Mason, Chris Watkins hanging out. Of course, you can hear Chris Watkins on Chris and Go from 10 to 11. He's hanging out with me today on the show. Super excited to have Chris. And
so excited.
The Kings lose yesterday, and now they've got 2 games left. Yeah. Friday night against the Golden State Warriors, a potential first-round matchup. If the playoffs start today, that would be the first-round matchup. Mm-hmm. That's a nightmare scenario, right?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean,
it is. You want to play the Warriors in the first round? You say bring it on?
Hey, if it happens, it happens. If it happens, it happens. I don't feel great about it, especially with Andrew Wiggins potentially coming back for that playoff series. But, at this point, I feel like we've talked about every single matchup not being a great one for the Kings. So, might as well take one that matchup-wise kind of does make sense.
Go slay the defending champs.
Pedigree. I do feel like the pedigree thing is probably just a little bit overstated. This is a very unique situation. Not often, if you take the name away and we're just looking at this team from an individual entity and you're not factoring in all of the experience and the championship pedigree of this team.
So you're saying if I ignore everything that makes the Warriors great, then maybe I'll feel better about it? Sure.
At that same time, if you also forget everything that makes the Kings, what makes the Kings the Kings, you just play these two teams, not that scary.
Oh, that's I could try to. I may have to visualize that.
At this point, there's not really. It's the most likely scenario at this point. 2 games left in the season. Kings aren't moving. Doesn't feel like Friday is kind of sneakily a really big game for the Warriors in order to lock up that number 6 spot. With the Clippers moving ahead of them last night. It's going to be a big one. Definitely going to be a big one.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that. With 2 games left, the Kings still have a shot at 50 games. I know that sounds like it's an important thing for the players to reach, but a lot of fans wondering, why don't you just rest the next couple of days? It doesn't matter. You're pretty much locked in number 3, right? Like Phoenix can't catch you.
No, they I don't think they actually can.
So you're in the number 3 spot. What's 50 mean in the grand scheme of things? If you get 50 wins and, Sabonis has an injury, you're not going to be very happy. You'd rather have them healthy. Where do you stand on this whole, all right, do you rest the next couple of games or do you just kind of play it like usual? Maybe you limit minutes a little bit.
I want to see them play one more game. I want to see them play Friday against Golden State. I think it'll be a good test for them. I think it'll be a good – I've been talking a lot about just mentality. I want them to feel good, confident in themselves about playing that Golden State team. I want to see what they – and frankly, this Kings team still has a lot – I mean, they don't have to prove it to me, but I think that they still have to show that they can – play with a certain level of intensity and play in these playoff environments as much as they possibly can before it actually happens. Something I was disappointed to see last night was the defense just seemed to kind of go away after showing probably the best defensive performance of the season against New Orleans. Can they put up a defensive performance against the Warriors? There's still some things that I want to see from this team. And then Sunday against Denver, just that to me feels like you probably rest then. There's not really much of anything that you're playing for except for possibly the 50 wins.
And they may be resting guys anyway, and you just go, all right, can our depth beat their depth and get 50?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think playing the Friday night game is very important. Because, one, you just listed like that atmosphere, Golden State maybe having something to play for to secure that 6th spot. But also, if you're playing this team in the first round, getting some stuff on tape to go over that week.
So true. Right.
Is so vital. Maybe you could experiment a little bit too, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need the game, but maybe you're going to try some different things just to see how it looks. And then you evaluate practice, you watch the film and see what it looks like in the first round. But I'm all about that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you need to go approach it like it's game 7 of the NBA finals, but I think there's some great value in playing that game against Golden State Friday.
Yeah, to build off your point there, I think, earlier this season, the first time we saw Chimezie Metu really get extended run was in that Warriors game at I almost called it Oracle at Chase Center. And I'm curious if maybe we see a similar thing where we've seen Alex Len here for 5 or 6 games in a row. I wonder if they continue to go with Alex Len and say, hey, here's this new wrinkle we have. I'm curious if it still works in this setting, or if they go back to Chimezie Metu and see, okay, is this, like you were saying, a matchup thing?
Yeah.
How does this look on film? Can we get an extended look at if we think this is how we want to go in this matchup? Does it work? There's just a lot of small things like that they can tweak and figure out to see, how this would potentially play out in a playoff series. You're completely right. Getting this on film and using this more as a learning experience, it could be incredibly vital for this team moving forward.
Now, would you be worried about showing too much, like showing your hand a little bit with like things that I'm sure Mike Brown has ideas already?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is very prepared, but
especially for this team, right? You would imagine for the Warriors, he probably
do you hold some things back?
You definitely don't throw the kitchen sink at them. You don't give them everything. You know,
Where's that saying come from?
who knows? What does it even mean?
Yeah, what does
Throw
that mean?
the kitchen sink.
Throw the kitchen sink meaning like
why does it mean
origin,
going all in? Like, why does that specifically mean like, oh yeah,
Okay,
I'm
here
giving
we
this
go.
my entire effort?
The expression derives from World War I or II.
Okay.
One of those world wars.
One of them. All right, pick one.
There's
Which
some
one?
time frame in between that.
When households in the United Kingdom gave up everything they had except the kitchen sink to meet the mad demand for material, especially metal.
Okay. So throwing in the kitchen sink means like you're really,
throwing in everything.
you
You're
got.
not taking my
Sink.
kitchen sink.
But you may have to throw it in there.
You may
Oh,
have.
I don't care.
You need to throw it in there.
Blimey, I'm keeping me kitchen
What
sink.
did you say? Blimey.
You said
Blimey.
Okay.
Australian.
All right, he said blimey.
Yeah.
I live here in the UK for some reason.
During World War One or Two.
Everything but the kitchen sink.
So as to preserve metals? Is that one more time? Sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah. So apparently, everything they had except the kitchen sink to meet the mad demand for material, especially metal.
Okay.
So.
Interesting. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you want to hold on to your kitchen sink in
I
this
would hold-
matchup
yes.
Friday against
Exactly.
Golden State.
In this situation, I would hold on to my kitchen sink.
Okay.
But that would be all that I hold on to. I would definitely want to, like you're saying, I would probably want to, if I have some ideas on, I wonder how this would look. Maybe not give it an extended look, but try it out for a couple minutes. Use the game as an experiment, because realistically, I mean, what does 50 wins mean? We've heard this team talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. It's a look. I understand trying to reach goals and
Right.
stuff, but
They probably said it
here's a larger goal.
Yeah.
If you win 48 games and make it to the conference finals, that means
wasted
more
season.
than 50 wins and a first round exit. I'm not saying it's either or.
Yeah.
I think you just have to be careful. Here's the reality of when people talk about injuries, though. It's like, hey, don't play, guys. Dude, you can get hurt waking up in the morning.
Taking
So
a shower, anything.
you can't go in the mindset of a game of, oh, got to play not to get hurt. You have to just go out there and play and live with the results.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you can't. The second you start thinking about injury, that's how you get injured. That's what they always say. And yeah, I mean, you can't live your life in fear, dude. You just can't. You have to go out there and you have to try. There's no reason why they can't go out there on Friday and give a decent enough effort. And you know what? If they, for whatever reason, get blown out, then they can rest their guys.
Could
still.
you imagine if they lose by 30 pillars? They're gonna
Yeah.
now. What if they won by like 20?
Then
Are
they would say
people
it wouldn't
going,
matter. It
We're
wouldn't
gonna
matter.
beat them in the first round.
Yes, actually, definitely. I was going to try and be contrarian and say
Yeah.
like people would then, play it the opposite way and be like, oh, like it really didn't matter and whatever. Warriors weren't trying going full tilt, but no, people would lose their minds. And if it looks the right way, I might lose my mind too.
You do not lose your mind. I have a pro tip that I want to throw out there to people.
What's up?
So we're going to talk more about this later, but Kings playoff tickets.
Oh, bro, they're
It's
ridiculous.
insane. It's
They're ridiculous.
absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Especially on the secondary market right
Mhm.
now. We're talking about upper level
I
and
saw for the playoff ticket, right? Yeah.
yeah. So my advice to Kings fans, if you don't want to pay that on the secondary market, maybe you take a trip to San Francisco. And I would say gamble right now and go buy a couple of Warriors tickets for their next home game, a playoff home game,
Mhm.
and hope that it's the Kings. And if not, sell it back.
Right.
Because it's going
I
to be a
actually love
hot
that.
ticket. Because right now I'm looking at the get in right
idea.
now at Chase Center for their first round series. It looks like it's like $170. So
Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah, it's just a pro tip I'm offering. They're spoiled, right? This is not the
Wow.
same. You just make a trip down to San Francisco, take over their building, and if they don't play the Kings, you just resell it on StubHub.
that's almost more beneficial.
I might
You
do
know what?
that.
Well, not only
I might do that.
we can then let's just switch home floors. We'll make the Warriors fans pay thousands of dollars for ours.
yeah.
But while they're paying all that money for our tickets, we'll just flood theirs and buy just sections of Kings fans in Chase Center. I love it.
Also, the Warriors are terrible on the road. If we can make their home floor a
Like a-
road,
Oh
done.
my God, you guys!
So there's my pro tip.
Whoa.
Go buy Warriors tickets at the Chase Center.
A lot cheap. I mean, what playoff tickets right now for the Kings are looking like 3,000. I think. I
Dude,
mean, I know it's only resale.
I looked at an upper level today. That was 800 plus for game one. We've never seen anything like this. It's been 17 years.
Yeah.
The last time the Kings were in the playoffs, StubHub was like in its infancy. Like the secondary
even
market
exist?
wasn't.
Yeah.
I think it did, but it was. I remember buying tickets on StubHub around that time for a Giants game, and you didn't get them online. You had to go to the office in San Francisco and you picked them up.
I got some mailed to me.
That's when they used to do it. You mail or
that's
pick up in the office. They had like this little tiny office in San Francisco. You knock on the door. Oh yeah, okay.
Like StubHub, not like the box office.
No,
You go to, like,
StubHub.
StubHub's corporate office.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Y'all
Well,
are
we'll talk
washed.
some more playoff matchups. Our guy Drew is going to be in studio coming up at noon. That local guy. And we'll talk about some of the stuff that happened in the NBA last night. It's Deuce and Mo with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports 1140. I think that my idea is pretty good.
That's like actually like an insanely good idea.
Like, look at
That's absolute. Like if I were to buy a ticket, that's actually what I would do.
okay, just to be I actually clicked on the wrong thing. I clicked on playing.
Yeah.
So you could buy right now their first home game in the first round is
Yeah.
$133.
That's sold. Like that's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, it makes
It's the
it's
same-
more feasible because it's not that far. We're not saying go to LA
Yeah, exactly.
or
It's a great idea. And especially with, I mean, I think regardless, there's going to be a ton of Warrior fans in Golden One Center for that game. It would be nice to kind of even it out a little. I don't feel like there'll be nearly the same percentage of Kings fans in Chase as Warrior fans in Golden One. So it would be nice to kind of figure out some way to level that out a little. Ooh. Yeah, freeform. Ooh, freeform Aggie says $440 for upper.
now just know
R.
if the Kings play the Warriors or the Lakers in the first round,
It's only
those
gone higher.
prices are skyrocketing on the
Yeah.
secondary.
It's an investment, people. It's wonder how Jimmy Buffett does it.
I'd say if you're going to buy in the secondary market, you may want to wait. You don't want to wait until Monday.
No, definitely not. No, you don't want it to be set for sure. Because like you're saying, once it's official, once you can put the name on the pick, once it becomes official that it's Warriors or even the Lakers. I mean, I don't know which one will be a higher price, but buy them now while it's even remotely possible.
People are gonna make some money.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know they do. Like, if you're a season ticket holder, you get to buy at face value, if I'm not mistaken, too.
You get yes.
Yeah, you can buy your seats and then an additional pair of seats.
It's an incredibly great perk for season ticket members right now. If you were in and had to deal with all this,
Yeah,
you
deserve it.
are saving
Right.
a lot of
'cause
money.
it's probably like $60, $80 for max for like a lower level individual game.
I think it's more than that.
And that,
Yeah,
Okay.
but still, I mean, it's compared to what they're going to go for
Yeah.
to the general
Right, I
public
mean,
and then to the secondary market.
Yeah. And again, this isn't even set, and you'll have the week leading into it as well.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings went 1-1 on their short road trip, losing their final game 123 to 119 to the Dallas Mavericks. For more on last night's game, check out our Kings insider Frankie Cardoselli's recap on SactownSports.com. Kings will be back home tomorrow night for their final home game of the regular season against the Golden State Warriors. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023 Masters is underway, and currently at the top of the leaderboard is Victor Hovland. He leads at 7 under par through 14. Brooks Koepka is in second at 4 under through 8, and there's a logjam at 3 under. Currently, Tiger Woods is tied for a 64th. He's 3 over through 13. Those are your Masters update. It's brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality. Now it's time for more of Deuce and Mo with Chris Watkins.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo.
Sactown Sports.
Yeah, Morgan's off today. She'll be back tomorrow on a Friday. It's Deuce Mason hanging out with Chris Watkins, Chris Verlade on Sactown Sports 1140.
No Morgan, dude show.
Yes. Yeah. Sactownsports.com. It's weird. You know, it's funny. Someone was on this station just hyping up the Lakers. The Lakers are back. They're so good. Oh, Austin Reeves. What? Did I miss something last night? Because that team pretty much played a home game last night.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they got hammered by the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, by the way, played the entire second half of the game. Westbrook was making shots and pointing at LeBron. What happened to your Lakers, Chris Watkins? This team that you were telling me, the big bad Lakers. And you know what they were saying after the game, chat? You know what they were saying, people watching and listening to us? They were talking about after the game, what's the schedule? Did you see LeBron's comments, Chris Watkins, before you answer?
I did not see LeBron's comments. Was it overshadowed by his teammates banging at him?
I actually have the audio. Here's LeBron after the game. It's one of the toughest games we've had this year. Coming off the road trip and getting back late last night after an overtime game. This is just one of those scheduling conflicts in the season, and definitely got the best of us tonight. That's your goat. That's your goat. Talking about the schedule? LeBron plays every other week. AD barely plays, and they're complete. They got worked crazy against the Clippers last night.
You know, LeBron and AD both were questionable heading into last night's game. You don't want to mention that, Deuce. They were playing through injury. They were there for their...
No, just to be clear, LeBron and AD are questionable before every back-to-back. I don't know, a back-to-back. It's just too tough for me.
I just don't know.
You're trying to clinch a spot in the playoffs.
It was crazy.
And they're just like, yeah, schedule.
Against a teim that you're literally tied record-wise with.
Yes.
And it was like, yeah, we don't know. We don't know if we're going to get up for today. Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to, I do not want my identity here to be the Laker guy.
You said,
that Laker guy.
You said, quote, I am beyond scared of the Los Angeles Lakers, and quote.
I feel like
was that the quote?
I don't think I said beyond scared.
Okay.
I think I did say I am fearful.
Get really scared of those mid teams?
Yeah.
Not really. But just the ones that are have the third best record in the NBA post All-Star break.
Who's ahead of them though, man?
Yeah, that's true. You know, Sacramento Kings
Bucks and the Kings.
Yeah,
I was really surprised by that because you hear that LeBron AD are going to play, which I'm like, oh, that's significant. AD is playing on the second half of back-to-back. And the Clippers worked them. Norm Powell with a big game. Kawhi.
Bones Highland.
I feel like Kawhi sent a bit of a message last night, like, hey, there's so much talk about me not playing, in the second half of the game. Yeah. I'm going to play the entire second half.
Yeah. I don't quite understand how and I had this thought watching last night. I don't get how Luka is even remotely it's a different conversation. How Luka's in the MVP conversation, and it's just not being talked about at all what Kawhi Leonard has done the second half of the season. He's been playing games first off, which is a huge accomplishment for Kawhi. He's averaging 29 points per game and shooting 50% from three in that like he has been absolutely insane carrying this Clipper team, even without Paul George as well. They haven't really missed a stride. And, big shout out to Russell Westbrook, who, has had a really tough season on and off the floor. But he's stepped into this Clipper squad and he's been really, really big for them. He's honestly played really well. And it's one of the deeper teams. They've been really deep all season, but they just have so many weapons that they can go to. The Clippers are really, really scary.
I know the other day we're playing rank these opponents for the Kings, and I think we all picked the Clippers as being, I guess we'll take them. Yeah. I'm going Pelicans now. I think after seeing what the Kings did to the Pelicans, and I'm like, okay, seeing where they're at health-wise with Zion still kind of unclear. It's hard to say you'd be excited to play the Clippers. And it's not being a prisoner of the moment. It's just when you see a guy like Kawhi and what he is capable of, like you said, when he's played this year, he's played 50 games, missed a lot, but he's been incredible. So you know what he can do defensively. They've got guys who can get hot. I'm not in love with the Clippers at all, but it's hard to say you're excited to take on Kawhi Leonard.
And also they're another team. I mean, they don't have the deep playoff run experience, but this is a team that is full of guys who have playoff experience and have been on really good teams. And it's just a really veteran led team. And Also not talked about a lot. Ty Lue, one of the best
dude.
coaches in the NBA, one of the best adjustment makers in the NBA as well. That would be an incredibly tough series for the Sacramento Kings in a lot of different aspects. You bring in the length, you bring in the coaching experience, you bring in the player experience as well, and the star power. It is really a handful for the Kings to deal with. And I think the only reason why we have the level of confidence we do for the Clipper or against a potential Clippers matchup is because of the success that the Kings have had against them all season. The double overtime game, of course, is going to be the game that we all point to as a reason why the Kings can beat them. But also, I would argue that that's probably not a good game to point to if you're going to talk about this potential matchup, because that's not really the Clippers' game. Scoring 175 points isn't really how the Clippers want to play.
And no Paul George. That's the other thing. He's likely not going to play in the first round, maybe if they advance later on. Yeah, I'm most fearful now of the Warriors. It's just, I don't think that they're unbeatable by any means, but getting Wiggins back, the question for me is like, how long is it going to take Wiggins to get acclimated back to being just in basketball shape?
Right.
Because there is a difference.
And in rhythm, yeah.
But I don't know that they need him to carry an offensive burden. They need him to as another wing defender who can defend multiple positions like he did during their playoff run last year. That's nice. I mean, when you've got him, you got Draymond, GP2, even DiVincenzo, we know what he can do.
Yeah.
They've got some guys on that squad, especially defensively.
Yeah, and they can also throw out, I mean, with those guys that you just listed, they can throw out different looks. You know, they can go with a offensive heavy lineup of Poole, Clay, and Steph, and Wiggins as well, but they can also throw out GP2, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, Looney, and like really get throw out a more defensive lineup. And that's not really the something that the Sacramento Kings can do. So that's a little scary too.
And they can go small.
They can go small. They really can't go big, which is probably that's I think where my confidence comes more from the Kings. I feel like big teams have really set the tone and set physicality against Sacramento, and that's to me been just kind of consistently been something that they can't deal with. Golden State doesn't really present those issues. And that's where my confidence comes from is I have a tough time seeing them slowing down Domas, slowing down Fox, getting to the rim. Who do they really have to slow down Fox at all? And just the fact that the Kings, the Warriors do play a more offensive heavy game. And if anybody can keep up with them offensively, I think it's the Kings.
I think Looney
Looney's
battle. He's strong,
He's so underrated.
Great rebounder, just like
knows his
glue
role.
guy.
Yeah.
And I think even though they're a smaller team up front, they've got guys that Green and Looney battle their asses. They don't play at their size. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been Draymond's big. That's how Draymond has survived is by playing bigger than his size actually is. And he's deteriorated a little bit, but don't be fooled. Like Draymond Green is still an elite defender in the NBA.
Man, this is fun that we're having these conversations, dude. And it's going to be more fun when you're talking about like the game-to-game stuff. All right, we just saw game one. What adjustments have to be made?
Yeah.
Even going into the series, we're going to be chilling, wondering, all right, who are the Kings playing? Yeah. We might know Sunday, unless the Kings get lucky and move up to 2, have to wait for the play-in. But just the whole week of dialogue talking about matchups and different this is our time.
It is.
We've been waiting for this.
I know. The playoffs are a completely different battle. It's a completely different thing to talk about, and I'm really excited just to because you can really break every single little thing matters in a playoff series. Alex Len getting 5 minutes could be the difference between the Kings winning and losing, for better or worse. It absolutely can. It's little tiny, every single moment matters. And if you're not, if you aren't maximizing your limited role out there, like it can play a huge role in what happens in a series. So I cannot wait to break down whenever it is, whoever it is, the matchup for the Kings.
Curry going to be hunting. They're going to be hunting those pick and rolls, trying to get Fox off of him. He's trying to get Herter on him.
Yeah. Domas on him as well. I mean, that's the big fear, right? Is can the Kings play with Domantas Sabonis at center against a team like the Warriors, getting him in switches routinely? It could look. I mean, Steph Curry specifically has made a lot of bigs look really bad at points. So much so that there's been points where you see a team like the Houston Rockets of old where they would just go no centers because they felt like that was the best way of attacking that Warriors team. Is like we were talking about earlier, you have to be very switchable defensively when you go against a team like the Warriors.
Well, the
because of
Kings are
all the
closing
matchups.
with Keegan Murray at the 5
Yeah.
here in
Be
game
ready
2.
for. Hey, we can that can maybe see though. I mean, we can maybe see Trey Lyles at the 5 in that situation.
Yeah.
Something we haven't seen a lot recently.
All right, we could talk more about playoff possibilities. We got to hit on some Luka too, because Luka. I mean, come on. I know we do this every time we see Luka against the Kings or any team, but this was peak Luka last night.
Gross.
We'll talk more about it. It's Deuce and Mo, Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports 1140, SactownSports.com. Hey, YouTube chat, if you have not yet, hit that thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Let's get to 100. Let's go. It's really bright in here, I realize.
Yeah, I think these lights are usually off. The house lights are off.
I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah. Grandpa Deuce. I can't see. It's too bright out here. Why are we watching KVIE? What is happening? Let's see here. Oh, yeah. What is the purpose of Channel 6? Like, who is watching? Is that public access, right? KVIE?
No, it's public broadcasting.
Public
I
broadcast.
watch KVIE.
For what?
Frontline.
Yeah. That would be the
Frontline, their episodes are always like, wait, how are we not all talking about this right now?
No, always. It's like this is definitely the most important thing. And I had no idea.
Did you
this
used to watch it
existed.
back in the day?
Honestly, I would. We would watch it at like my parents would just drop us off at like a babysitter's house over summers, and like we would just me and my sister would just watch everything. And so yeah, KVIE was definitely Channel
Was Bill
6.
Nye the Science Guy still around?
Bill
Right?
Nye was there. Caillou was big on that bald guy.
I was a huge Bill Nye fan.
Zaboomafoo. I don't think that was on Channel 6.
What's your favorite PBS show, Deuce?
What's the one with Bob Vila?
Oh, the home renovation show.
Just kidding. I was trying to think of a random one. What was that show called? Man, I mean, I liked Arthur growing up.
Arthur, great.
I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, back in the day when I was like 5, Barney, of course.
Oh man,
I was a huge
see,
Barney guy.
that's where our age shows, because
You didn't watch
I
Barney?
wasn't old. I mean, like I was too old for Barney.
Oh, cool guy.
My little cousin loved it, obsessed with it.
Yeah, my sister loved Barney too. I think I just saw that they renovated Barney.
Oh yeah, I think it's a cartoon now.
Yeah, he looks.
Oh
a
man,
lot
there's a documentary on Peacock about Barney. Absolutely insane.
just like the history of like
the guy got death threats.
the dude who's like in the Barney suit.
Yeah,
For what?
because like it was like driving, like Barney like drove people crazy.
Why?
They blamed him for it.
What? What? I love you. What a weird concept, though. Like it's a purple dinosaur. He's got a couple small dino friends. You ever have you watched a kid show like even semi recently, like a kid show? Like,
Yeah,
isn't it weird how it's like, what even is it?
yeah, and the
It's
cartoons
just-
are always just like, well, it's like some computer generated things.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh,
I feel like even kid shows these days are not for
kids these days.
These days. Like what's that? Like Cartoon Network always definitely like rides the line of like adult and child. Like what's that? Like the Adventure Time show is kind of on that line.
The one for me when I was a kid was
Courage the Cowardly Dog. was on
Rocco's
that.
Modern Life.
Rocco, yeah, Rocco was strange.
Is that a kid show?
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
it was a
kind
kid
of
show.
Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and
Was that-
Stimpy, yeah.
Shout out Doug.
Oh, love Doug.
Doug
Did you
was
watch
cool.
it when he went to middle school?
I don't have
yeah,
memories
I
of
don't.
specific episodes.
I don't remember the specific episode. I just remembered that I think it was on like ABC. He got like older and he went to middle school.
The shows I watched growing up, and now I realize like how problematic some of these shows, like Cops.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Cops is great. Though.
Cops, America's Most Wanted.
Oh yeah. I
For
watch that all the
sure.
time.
Mm.
I told this story before, so for those who've heard it, oh well. but we used to watch America's Most Wanted every week. And there's one that was kind of based in the area or whatever.
Oh, geez.
I went and saw my dad at the county jail in downtown when I was like probably between 8 and 10. I don't remember exactly. And we were on like the phone with the glass. Sitting next to him was the guy that I saw on America's Most Wanted.
Did
As
you
a
ask
kid,
for
it
his
freaked me
autograph?
out. Yeah, I saw you on the episode. Can you sign this? No.
It probably scared you, right?
No,
Like,
it was
yeah,
just
I was
weird.
like-
It was just, as a kid, it's just really weird that you're like visiting your dad in jail.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Pretty traumatizing. Yeah. Pretty traumatic.
Live and local.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Watch the show now on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140 or listen for free on the Sactown Sports app.
Morgan Reagan is back tomorrow. It's Deuce Mason hanging out with Chris Watkins. And I wish the Kings would have won for several reasons. But probably near the top is because what I'm about to say, people are going to, that's sour grapes, Deuce. We need to talk about Luka for a second. Luka is...
It doesn't matter. If they're sour,
utterly-
if they're sweet, he's going to eat all those grapes.
Grapes, there's nothing
Is he
wrong with
eating
eating grapes.
grapes?
I hope he
Yeah,
does
I
eat
don't know.
grapes. I love grapes. Luka, man. It is outrageous watching him complain. And this isn't just against Sacramento. It happens every single
night.
night. First team all complain. Last night, he was begging for a technical,
Yeah.
and they did
yeah.
not give him one.
I mean, he literally screamed at that referee. I can't remember the exact play because there were a lot that he was complaining about, but there was a specific play where I think he thought he got hit on the wrist and then screamed in the official's face. I don't even know what he screamed.
You
but
could hear it on
you
the
could hear it
broadcast.
on
Yeah.
the broadcast. They then replayed it 2 or 3 times. You could see him make direct eye contact. You're right. He was literally asking for it. And if I'm not mistaken, he's a technical away from being suspended. Right?
Interesting why they didn't give him a technical, right? And the latitude, like he gets, Draymond Green gets. I know these guys get a lot of technicals. It's like, well, what do you mean they're near the top? No, but if you watch them, it's constant, and they get away with talking to officials unlike any other players in the league.
Mhm.
Hell, Kevin Huerter last night was hot. He was pissed. He gets hit in the face, shoves Tim Hardaway down.
Yeah.
And they called him for a foul. He gets into official, gets teed up. And I'm like, dude, I've seen Draymond do that.
Right.
I've seen Luka do that. They don't get technicals.
The other day, Draymond, right? Didn't he say why, and then didn't get a tech kick? Trey Burke in the face, didn't get a tech. Yeah, you're completely right. It just feels like when, for some reason, when you do get a lot of techs, it does feel like the standard for your tech is almost elevated, and it takes more to get one. And it just shouldn't be like that. It feels like, if anything, it should be the opposite, that you should have an even shorter leash. And clearly Luka does not. I mean, it's an absolute, I mean, we watch him 3 times, 4 times a year max. And I'm sure every single opposing team goes through this every time they play them. But I just think of being a Mavericks fan, and of course here in Sacramento, we know how close we were to having Luka on this team. I just think about how tough or how conflicting it must be to support him or to watch, have him be on your team on a nightly basis. Just the conflicting emotions that go on with, this dude is quite literally a generational talent. Like, he is undeniably one of the most talented players in the NBA, full stop. But also he has this element of his game that is completely unwatchable and almost overshadows what he does on the floor.
I 100% agree. And people, when you talk about that, okay, you're just a Kings person, upset they didn't take him number 2, and you're just saying the stuff. It's like, no, you watch him, and it's every play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
literally, it is literally.
He literally looks at the official every time, even if it's not a call against him, miscall, whatever he perceives as an issue. He's staring at the official, not getting back on defense. I think he's a tough guy to play with, and I'm sorry, you watch what Jalen Brunson's doing this year. He's taking his game to another level.
Not a coincidence.
Kristaps Porzingis having a career year in Washington, getting a contract extension. I'm not going to say it's all Luka, but I think it's challenging to play with him because he's so ball dominant, because of the energy he plays with. And as talented as he is, he could be so much better if he just locked in. And I don't think he's got the mental focus right now, the maturity right now in his career to get to the heights. Like, if he keeps going at this pace, this is who he's going to be. He's going to be a guy that puts up monster numbers, that's on teams that can be good because he's talented, but he's never going to reach the heights he's probably capable of potential with his potential because he gets in his own way.
Yeah. By the way, Luka last night led the game in free throw attempts. By the way, so
yeah,
and I don't like, and that's routine. Also, he's amongst the top of the league in free throw attempts. I completely agree with you, and I think it is a fair question to ask. Would it be like if you're a free agent, or if even forget a free agent? You were mentioning a second star in Dallas. Do you really? Does it seem like it's fun to play with Luka? Do you feel like you can thrive as well in a Luka-based system? It doesn't seem like anybody else has been able to find that kind of success with him. Even Dallas, they note that Dallas staggers them. A big part of that is because Luka, the amount of the time that Luka has the ball in his hand, there's no point of having Kyrie out there. You might as well have Tim Hardaway or Josh Green out there because he's just going to be standing in the corner anyway. And you might as well give Kyrie his own separate. It's like, it really is like there's a Luka squad and then there's a Kyrie squad on their team right now. I don't think that it's an attractive place to be if you're a potential secondary star to Luka. I don't think anybody would want to voluntarily sign up for that.
That organization's a mess right now. And Mark Cuban. Look,
I don't know what the hell he was doing yesterday.
I'm a huge Shark Tank guy.
I am too.
I love Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out on Cuban.
For that reason.
For this reason, I'm out. Yeah. He holds an impromptu press conference before the game, and not even a scrum with reporters. Yeah. Where he's trying to explain and excuse all the problems they had.
Yeah.
Like,
past year.
We wanted to keep Jalen Brunson, but his dad got involved. Oh, that's really smart for the leader of an NBA team to be calling out a player's father. What free agent wants to sign up with you when you're calling out the guy's dad? They had their chances to sign him. And his whole thing is, well, we didn't know what the Mavs were offering. They didn't tell us. I mean, what the Knicks were offering. They didn't tell us. How could... No, you guys messed up.
Yeah.
Take the L and move on. Had you have treated him right through the process, he's probably going to consider staying with you, but you did not. And he went and dipped out on you, went to the Knicks, got paid, and you could have paid him more.
Yeah. I mean, that's the story of the Mavericks, really. It's just like they completely, it just seems like this entire season has been them trying to make up for that one mistake. Even them bringing in Dinwiddie and bringing, and making the trade of Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith for Kyrie. It was all making up for the mistake of letting Jalen Brunson go, somebody that they could have had for an incredible, also the number that they could have re-signed him to was a joke. Like it would have, it's an easy re-sign. It would have been 4 years, $56 million extension they could have offered him. That's easy. That's chump change.
And Cuban, according to reports, disputed that part of the story where he said that they insisted that the Mavs were not given the opportunity to negotiate before Brunson signed that deal. So pretty much
saying Brunson had already made his mind up.
Even though he wanted to be there.
Yeah.
But I just thought that's not the way to go, Cuban. You don't go to the media and start making excuses and talking about how you built this roster. It sounded like he was trying to get in front before the Kings game, going, all right, if we lose tonight, we're pretty much done. I got to get in front of this and express some things. People are on us because we didn't get Brunson, and the Knicks are the 5th seed in the East. Brunson's playing at an all-star level. Well, I got to say something.
Change the narrative, because everyone was talking about how the Dallas wasn't in the 11 or was in the 11 spot and made all these moves and didn't capitalize on them. What do you think would have happened if Vivek Ranadive did this? Like you said, I mean, this isn't even a press conference. This is, I'm sitting in my seats for the game. Yeah, media, I got some things to say. Come around here. And then Nate pointed out, what if he was just crapping all over Marvin Bagley's dad? He's like, I really wanted to re-sign Marvin, but
that would be
his
insane.
dad was such an issue.
I cannot picture him doing that.
Right, which is how crazy it was that he was doing it. I don't understand what was the win? What was Mark Cuban hoping to get out of
There
that?
was no win, and he took a fat L.
He did. Very rare L for Mark Cuban.
Yeah. All right. Coming up next, we have our guy Drew in the building. That local guy, he knows hoops. We're gonna talk some hoops with him straight ahead. Deuce and Mo, Chris Watkins in, Morgan's off on Sactown Sports 1140.
Get some water.
All right.
Does Drew need headphones? Do we know?
Probably.
Okay. I can go grab some. Where did I put my keys? What up, boy?
What is up? That local guy.
What up, brother?
Good to see you.
How you doing, man?
Taking that hoodie. Good, man. How are you?
Good, man.
Get enough sleep?
I actually slept okay last night.
Yeah.
These early games are actually kind of.
Oh yeah, that helps out.
The last three, I've had we've had that
Pelicans.
3 o'clock game, an early Pelicans, early Mavs.
5 o'clock, 5:30.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah. Appreciate you coming in, man.
Of course, dude. Any chance I can get to take a field trip?
That's you got to get out of RVs every once in a while, dude.
Yep, they had to basically pull me from the grill today though, because I'm so dedicated to my craft. So.
Dude, are you gonna be able to go to any playoff games or?
Yeah, I'm in.
Woo!
I'm in.
Okay.
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll be in the building, and it's cool. I just saw that we're gonna be doing the away game watch parties, which is awesome.
And it's gonna be at Golden One Center way the watch parties. Yeah, that's cool.
I thought that they might do something like outdoors, the way the Raptors had that whole thing.
I feel like, yeah, and maybe they will if they go deeper.
Mhm. Yeah. I can't imagine what traffic what that would be if they did something.
See,
like that.
I don't think they could do that for home games. There's no chance that they could have people out there in Doco.
Right.
But I was thinking, like, if for home game, like, let's just say they made it to the conference finals.
Okay.
In the dream world, you just Capitol Mall, man. Put some screens up there.
True.
And, like, they
Yeah.
have beer fest there all the time. Here's some headphones.
Oh man, you're on engineer duties too.
Great,
They don't
great
pay you
point
enough.
from Rory. Did local guy join some sort of swole club? Yeah, he looks kind of swole today,
Oh.
dude.
Yeah,
Been
I've just
clanging and banging, man.
I've been hitting the chest workouts for like the last. I've done like 54 consecutive chest workouts the last time I've gone to the gym. So.
Something light.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no
I think the
legs.
muscle growth is. Yeah, oh yeah, none at all.
No.
Why would you?
Yeah, exactly. Who's looking down there? Weirdos too. But yeah, I mean, for a while I was like, wait, why are my muscles growing? And then I realized maybe I should probably cool it and maybe alternate some other muscle groups.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When you're dedicated to.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the gym since January. What's April?
Oh, was that a New Year's resolution that you were gonna try to stick to? And
For real.
Oh no,
Smelled
no. That was like life before this.
Yeah.
And then whereas like it was a routine. You just go to the gym like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then this happened. It was like, just kidding.
Yeah. Radio
Crazy.
people tend to not be in the greatest of shape.
Well, bite
I
your
found.
tongue. I'm not that bad. What?
I mean, you're new, and like you mentioned, you're on the slippery slope,
Yeah.
as
I
you
am.
can see. It's not a healthy lifestyle, I would say.
I just hear in general, just covering professional sports.
Yeah,
teams.
especially the
Not
Kings. I
those.
mean, it's not really super mentally helpful. Not great. Not ideal.
It's a little disappointing to bring in Arby's though. You think you'd
I
hook
know,
it up?
right?
You don't get an employee discount or?
Nah.
Yeah.
How often people probably still come up to you all the time, right? Ask if you legitimately work at Arby's.
I just had that happen to me yesterday. Yeah.
You
To
ever
someone
just
to someone who I hadn't seen in a while, but
yeah,
I thought she was in on the bit since she
Mhm.
sees my tweets, and then she
Yeah.
actually last night when I saw her, she
Yeah. She was like,
legitimately
"How's it
asked me,
going?"
Arby's.
"Do you actually work there?"
I did not ever actually think. Frankie likes to say that I actually thought.
I don't
you
know.
were-
I think
it was.
I believe Frankie though.
no.
Also,
you-
there'd be
that you
nothing
thought-
wrong with
Very
it. When I first heard about it, and you were like, when we had you on the pod, and you said it, I was just like, I mean, if he does, he does. I mean, I can't hate. I'm not
I
hating
know,
on
yeah,
that.
Drew, you used to work at Del Taco, right?
No, my mom did.
KFC.
KFC. Good job.
Got you.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings went 1-1 their short road trip, losing their final game 123-119 to the Dallas Mavericks. For more on last night's game, check out our Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's recap on SactownSports.com. Kings will be back home tomorrow night for their final home game of the regular season against the Golden State Warriors. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. 2023 Masters is underway, and currently at the top of the leaderboard is Victor Hovland. He's 7 under par through 16. Xander Schauffele is 5 under through 15, and Tiger Woods is tied for 55th. He is 2 over par through 15 holes. That's your Masters update. It's brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality. Now it's back to Deuce and Mo with our guest, that local guy, Drew.
I love that. That's a great gimmick. That local guy, man. Welcome in, Deuce Mason, Chris Watkins, no Morgan Reagan today.
Dude show.
She's off. Dude show. Hanging out with Drew.
No Morgan, dude show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Drew, that local guy, talking some hoops this hour. You can get on the conversation too if you guys feel like it in the YouTube feed. If you want to pick up the phone. Now, who talks on the phone anymore? I don't think a lot of people do, but you can. 916-339-1140. Kings coming off a loss last night. I actually saw Drew on Friday. He was out at the airport.
Y'all were out at the airport, man.
Dude.
That was crazy.
Insane.
I knew people would show up. I didn't think that many people would show up on short notice like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Wednesday was pretty crazy too.
Mhm.
Everybody showing up to the beam.
Mhm.
So, real quick, just to get this out of the way before I forget, many of you showed up to the beam on Wednesday night after the Kings clinched. There was a video of a woman screaming her lungs off at another dude, and that video kind of went, "Yes, her."
That is
so good.
terrifying.
Marissa is her name.
Yeah.
Twitter user Cocoa Water Chill.
Okay.
I wanted to give her a shout out. Today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Marissa. Hope you enjoy.
I
And
think
your
she's
throat's
been
all right.
enjoying it.
she's been
Yeah.
enjoying it
Yeah,
for a week
screaming.
plus now. So
What does she say again?
Light
She-
the beam. Let's
yeah,
go.
light the beam, let's go. And then she started it off. The clip starts off with her saying the scores are back.
Oh.
So nobody
That's
can call her a
crazy.
Can you give her
bandwagon.
handle one more time? I think we all need to
Yeah,
follow
Yeah,
her.
Twitter user Cocoa Water Chill, COCO Water Chill. Everybody go
Dude.
shoot her a follow. I mean, she's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
We've become really, really good friends over this past season. We're Kings Pass buddies. So
Hell yeah.
so usually when I'm at a game, I'm with her. So I just wanted to give her a shout out for her birthday. So
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
I felt like the scene though Friday night or in the early Saturday
Yeah.
morning.
Mhm.
That was wild,
How
man.
many people were out there? It seemed like there was at least
Well,
like
yeah, what was
1,000
your,
people out
what
there.
was your guess, dude? You said a few
300,
100,
400 maybe?
It seemed like
200.
there was a
Yeah.
ton of
I mean, it was
people
more,
out there.
and to think that kind of happened like last May, it was that the day of the game that got put out
Yeah.
on social media,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Jill Adge, shout out to Jill.
Yeah.
She hit me up the day before and she was asking me, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Well, I'd be down. If you do it, I'll do it. I'm a follower, not a leader. So whatever you guys do."
Yeah, sheep.
And she tweets it out, I think, just before the game started on Friday night,
Mhm.
and it just took off. And Kevin Fippen, also of the
Mhm.
Kings Herald, also deserves a big shout out. He was getting all the flight info and
Yeah.
tracking them, and as
Kind
soon as
of scary in a way.
a little
bit.
bit,
I know,
yeah,
I
it's just
definitely thought
publicly
that
available
too.
information. Yeah, but
Definitely thought
but-
that.
he put it out there as soon as we had the details.
Yeah.
I think everybody, as soon as they knew when they were at least approximately when they were going to be back in town, everybody was with it. And man, those fans showed out in droves. Just watching the clips back of people doing all the chants.
Yeah, I mean, y'all were
I
live.
mean,
out there.
it just gives you chills, man. Like this city,
Yeah.
and of course you get the snide remarks from other fans.
Oh, I know. Of course.
Oh, they're celebrating like they won the
Yeah.
finals. Oh, that you know what? Whatever, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, let us have
Kings
it.
fans are going to enjoy the moment.
Yes.
Okay, it's
God
been
forbid.
17 years. That's what I always say when people are like, "You guys get so excited about making the playoffs or winning a Pacific Division. Divisions don't matter." I'm like, these things do matter because they haven't done 20 years.
Mhm.
Also, you just enjoy the milestones. There's nothing like the come up,
Nope.
and they won't feel like this next year.
No,
It won't.
no.
No. it
So enjoy these moments. I mean, I don't think anyone in Sacramento going, "Well, I'm good with this. We have reached peak levels of fandom in Sacramento."
Right. No, and I mean, you guys were out there late. It looked like you guys were out. I think the flight was initially supposed to land at like 11:30. Didn't seem like y'all were
Yeah.
getting. It didn't seem like
This
you
guy
saw
had
the
hot
players until
chocolate.
like 1:30.
Yeah. Chris Yang at Pocket Janitor on Twitter was making hot cocoa for people.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, you were ready to be out there
Yeah.
all night.
Yeah,
Huh?
they landed. I think the original flight was supposed to land at 11:50.
Yeah, or
They
something
didn't get there
like that.
till 12:30.
Yeah.
And the
It
second,
was worth it though, right?
Yeah,
It looked like
oh,
it was
yeah,
worth
absolutely.
it.
And the second those cars started
Mhm.
making their way
That
through
was
those
such
gates,
a cool moment.
it was
such a
nuts.
cool moment. And it
Yeah.
seemed like it was also split up, right? Like some of the you guys saw mainly the coaches, right? Because I saw
No,
there was
players-
also a separate set of
So
group
everyone
of people.
was kind of by the gates because you didn't know where the players were going to come
Right.
out
Mhm.
from or whatever.
Right.
And then you notice there's cars kind of speeding away. And you're like, oh, crap, where? And then a mass of people ran over
Always
to
safe.
create this like tunnel for the players and coaches staff,
Right.
the coaching staff to go through.
So some players just got to sneak out before.
Yeah,
I didn't see
I don't know that
videos
they
of like
wanted to
Sabonis
sneak out
or Fox.
though. Sabonis, I did see Sabonis.
Okay.
Yeah,
It was one of the first ones for sure I saw,
Yeah.
but I didn't see Keegan. I would have loved to see Keegan.
That would have been
reaction.
awesome to see him. I'm curious to see what car he drives.
Yeah.
Yes,
because
exactly.
He seems like a 95
Toyota Previa.
Previa, or like a Corolla.
That he actually
Corolla.
drove. He drove here from Iowa when he got drafted. He just drove it here.
Chris
right? It was
actually
just
doesn't
off-
have a car
he's-
right now in Iowa.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
split a car
Yeah.
between the two.
Actually, I could see him driving a Camry,
yeah. Seems like a total Camry.
Dude.
You know?
a
Maybe he's-
burgundy Camry.
Yeah, maybe he's very like environmentally conscious too. Maybe he drives a
Yeah,
Prius.
Prius, yeah.
Yeah, could
Very
be a
proud
Prius
of it.
guy.
Yeah, that was a
But
fun night.
It was an awesome
It
night.
was cool to see how the Kings failed to show up at home the next game too. That really was really
was
cool.
super
Yeah, they
cool of
continue
them.
to let us down, and I sent out another one of my tweets that maybe Monty McNair will see. Talking about my son crying in the concourse as people walk by.
How do
Could have
you?
been
He
disgusting.
legitimately did think it was
I
real.
know how much you love basketball. You know basketball. Can you even remotely explain this weird disparity between the defensive rating on the road, which is 8th, and 29th at home? It's bizarre.
I can't explain it. I was looking for answers a few weeks ago. I just tweeted it out openly. Can somebody please give us some answers
Right.
here? To be the second worst defensive team at home when you
Right.
have that type of home court advantage, the environment has just been crazy all season long. I really can't think of anything other than, and this is a really specific thing that I have mentioned to some people. Maybe you guys think it's ridiculous. Maybe it's not, but I do think that the sightlines are just really friendly in Golden One Center.
Wow, someone
said
else
that.
said
That was
this.
me.
Was it you?
That
Was
was
that you?
me. Yes.
And it could also be like the seats. I know that in other cities the
telling
seats are
you.
different colors, but
I heard
you
this
have
in Brooklyn
darker
as well.
seats.
I heard. Yep.
You have darker seats.
The
There-
lighting is
yes,
different.
the lighting,
Behind the hoop.
and then
I'm
you
out
have
on
the,
this.
you have the
I'm out on
LED.
this.
You have
Swear.
the LED banners
Yep.
just below the suites, right?
I swear.
And they don't ever really. Sometimes they change colors, but they're not too distracting a lot of the times. And I don't know, maybe that's the reason why. I have no idea. But
have no
I was
idea.
lucky enough to, when I was coaching, we played a game there one
Mhm.
time, and I stepped onto the court, and I was like, yeah, this just feels right. It feels like
Yeah.
I'm in it really does feel like I'm truly in a shoot around. And when the game started, it was kind of the same thing. I don't know if it affected our team that night and the other team that we played as far as scoring, because I don't remember the final score,
Yeah.
but it's just a very friendly,
Yeah.
welcoming
Hmm.
shooting environment.
Now-
And you
now I
see
wanna
guys
look at
walk
some of
in
the
and
numbers.
they're shooting the lights out. It's like, wait, how is it that the Lakers are
Right.
one of the 5 worst 3-point shooting
Russell
teams
Westbrook
coming
yeah.
in, and then they come in, and Russ shoots 4 of 8 from 3 in the first half? How does
Yeah.
that make any
No,
sense?
I mean Anthony Edwards even says it. He blatantly says he likes the rims in Sacramento. I mean,
Mhm.
granted, he could just be talking about the Sacramento gym in general. He likes playing in, but he
Right.
specifically said, "No, I really like the feel of it. I like the look of it."
Yeah.
And I think there is just, sometimes there is just a certain comfort level that you feel in certain gyms. Sometimes you'll, even in elementary school and high school,
Mhm,
you'll
yeah.
walk into gyms and you'll just be like, I kind of just like shooting on this hoop. I don't know. It's something weird about it, but Golden One Center, greatest arena in the
Wow.
NBA.
Yeah, it
I
really
mean,
is.
if I'm looking at
Everybody
this
loves it.
right, teams are shooting 50% from the field in Sacramento. That's a high
incredibly
percentage.
high. That's
They're shooting
elite.
37% from 3 in Sacramento.
That's
Let's
also
look at
pretty damn good.
If a single team shoots that well, they're
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah, exactly. Right.
best
That-
shooting teams ever.
Absolutely.
And on the road, teams are shooting just under 48% and then 37% from 3.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I
is
know.
bizarre that it's that, it'd be one thing. It was like, well, they're 17th on the road and 29th. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
maybe they're a little better, but
Mhm.
to be in the top 10 in defensive rating on the road,
It's a little too
and then
drastic.
near
Yeah.
the bottom.
Yeah. Second to last. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to figure that one out. Last night I was rewatching some of the game this morning against Dallas, and I know come playoff time, this is what happens. Some of the elite players are going to try to hunt for matchups. This is what you do.
Yep.
Kyrie was really doing that in that fourth quarter last
Mhm.
night. Got Kevin Huerter, switched on him a couple of times, got Sabonis. What do you think are some good counters to that? Is it simply don't switch on those?
Yeah, at the top of the show, you did mention that.
Yeah.
And you are right. It's much easier said than done.
Yes.
Yes, it
Because
is.
when you're dealing with NBA
Having to fight
talent
through it,
level,
right.
speed, quickness, all that kind of stuff. Sure, it's in theory, just get around it.
Get around it. Get to
It's
the
an
other
easy
side,
counter.
dude.
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you-
Jeez.
Obviously it's not that easy. I do think that we will see more hedging instead of just Sabonis being at the level or at the touch. Right? You obviously, like you said, you don't want to switch that. So that might be an answer. However, that does really, really strain the backline of your defense. So it's really going to come down to, if you're Mike Brown and Jordi Fernandez, you're thinking, okay, we have to pick our poison here. If we say, all right, Domas, hedge a little bit harder, come up a little bit higher, and force him, push him up towards half court and make him go backwards before you allow him to make a read, and then you got to sprint back, to your man. I mean, that's asking a lot. And Domas's foot speed and really his quickness out there as a defender in open space is a little underrated. I think
I agree.
We weren't giving him enough credit before the season.
No.
When he was traded here, I thought that he and Fox are going to have a lot of trouble with that, but he's shown a lot of improvement on the as far as that goes, being a defender in space, and just really his lateral quickness at the level is pretty good. But hedging though, I don't know. There was one possession in the third quarter against the Celtics when the Kings played them here, where, I mean, that game was about to be out of hand, and so Mike Brown started saying, okay, we need to start blitzing, we might need to start jumping these guys with pick and roll, and Domas did a really good job one time of hedging high, sprinting back to his man, but then the person who was covering for him and tagging down on the roll
exactly what
did a good job tagging over. A pass was made. The roll man caught it. He was kind of caught in between in no man's land, threw a pass, and the Kings got a steal out of it. Are you going to get that on every possession?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But it's there if you want to go to that, at least for a couple possessions.
Right.
It's just, it really is with the Kings at this point. It's how far can your personnel take you? They really don't have that many rangy, athletic wing defenders, big wing defenders. Adding Kessler Edwards helps, but over a 7-game series, that one addition, how much can that actually do for you? It's really going to be on your point of attack guys, and it's going to be on Domas, and it's going to be interesting.
We're going to talk more about some of these matchups too coming up. We got to take a break on the radio side. We're back in 60 seconds. Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports 1140. Yeah, that's why the Warriors matchup just scares me so much, man.
Yeah, dude.
It's just, especially with them looking like they're Wiggins back.
Wiggins is back in the fold. Yeah.
It's weird watching that game where they had to come back against the Pelicans last week. I was just like, oh God.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of guys they can throw out there.
And they can just still do that thing where
Yep.
they're down by 17,
right.
and then they hit a couple of threes, make some stops.
I feel like people are sleeping on Clay too. I feel like a lot of people still feel like Clay is working himself back. I kind of think he's back.
Oh, he's had some monster games
like
this year.
I think he's second in the league in 3-point percentage still. I think he's got the most 3-point makes this season. I don't think people understand that Clay, he's absolutely not the defender he used to be, because that was part of their game plan, with just, they would just throw Clay on the other team's best guard, but he's still a menace offensively. Like they're still every part offensively, the Splash Brothers.
I wonder who the Warriors would put on Fox.
That's the only thing. I mean, probably Dante and GP, but that's obviously not their starters.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Probably be a lot,
because I mean, Poole's liable to go off as well, depending on the night. But
Poole's got some length too.
Yeah, he does, but he's on defense.
He can get cooked.
Garbage.
Exactly.
He can get absolutely cooked.
You can just attack that. And yeah, I mean, the Kings don't run much pick and roll. They're obviously more of a. We all know by now they're all about DHO and an off ball movement. But you can still really strain weak side defenders and attack weak side defenders off of DHOs and really put that tag man in hell. And that's something that I'm pretty sure we'll see a good amount of, because teams are probably just going to put 2 on the ball against Fox and Sabonis.
Yeah.
And Sabonis is a little bit riskier, I think, because he makes so many good reads out of
every time,
really just out of anywhere on the court. Fox, though, if you can neutralize him being able to use his quickness and getting downhill, then I'll be interested to see how the Kings, counter that.
Also, one of those easier said than done things.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, KFR posted. I think it was the.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Morgan's off, and maybe she'll come back tomorrow. No, she's back tomorrow. Deuce Mason.
I feel really bad for her.
Why?
Because I have some of the best stories
Today?
I am
Really?
down for story time.
Oh, I'm so
Wow.
excited.
I gotta save some good ones for
I'm
tomorrow.
going to save a couple for tomorrow.
Tomorrow's a big day. It's a big Friday.
Yeah, it's a big Friday tomorrow.
Deuce Mason, Morgan Ringens off. We got Chris Watkins, Drew, aka that local guy in studio. We're talking about the Kings and some potential matchups. It's crazy. I love that we're to the point now that we could be having these conversations. Though. It's exciting to talk about like different matchups. Okay, what works, what doesn't work? Because usually around this time we're talking about, okay, well, Tankathon said like, who should they go with?
If we lose out, then it's
why
honestly
did the Kings
better
win
for
that
us.
game?
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's the
hate
worst. That is
stuff, dude.
definitely
Yeah.
the worst conversation to
Yeah.
have.
Opening night when the Kings lost against the Trailblazers, I in jest posted a screenshot of Tankathon and where the Kings were. And it's so funny. This fan base is so tortured and has been through so much over the last 17 years. We don't know anything but pain. Nobody said, "Oh, come on, dude, too soon."
Yeah,
come on.
relax.
Everybody was like, "Yep. Gonna bookmark this now. I'm gonna
Yeah,
bookmark
exactly.
the page
Yeah.
now." So I can just go back to it the rest of the season. And the team
Yeah.
starts off 0-4. Turns out that's going to be the
Nowadays-
longest losing streak of the season. Was the first 4 games they lost.
Yeah.
They've not lost any. They have not gone on any longer losing streaks.
And my grandma died that night, and then they won 48 games. Are you buying into that? That she was the problem at all?
Yeah. So I saw you guys
Yeah.
talking about that last night. I will abstain.
No, go.
Thank
feel
you.
free. I would love to
I'm
get your thoughts on that.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna
I'm the same.
entertain this conversation.
See, it's not.
I
It's,
love
not,
making people uncomfortable. I don't know why.
it's just we want to
It
make
is
sure
kinda-
you're good.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
just want to make sure you're.
Oh, I'm great. That's why. You think I'd bring it up if I wasn't good? Of course, I'm great.
You just have a way of suckering people in and then just getting them, reeling them in on
Yeah.
your line,
And then
being
going
like,
at 'em
"Gotcha!"
after.
Being
You,
like,
you think that Deuce does it? He really doesn't do that.
No, not at all.
I'm not falling for this. I'm just not. It's just not.
What do
You're
you
not.
think's gonna happen if you took a shot, my girl? You think I'm gonna like punch you?
No,
Like,
I just. It's not. Might not even be you. It might just be like I'm like, okay, yeah, we're having fun, and I'm like, yeah, your grandma sucked, dude. And it's like,
yeah.
okay, that was like, that's like, okay, well,
So you're the guy.
Chris, like, not cool.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
You're the guy that like when everyone's having fun, you're afraid you're gonna go too far.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
gotcha.
Well, especially we're on radio here.
Well-
That's like my perpetual fear on radio is like I'm gonna just take it too far.
I don't. You can't say anything about my family that would offend me.
I have
Your
realized
family
that.
sounds like a great bunch of people, and I'm sure they were caring and loved you so much.
Oh,
See,
so
that's
much.
probably
My
the
grandma
most
did.
offensive thing. That
My
you
grandma
can say.
did,
Yeah,
though.
that's true.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
But
That's
hey,
cool, dude. No, family love is tight.
yeah.
That's tight.
But 48 wins post grandma death, huh?
48 wins, love from a
Yeah.
family.
It is wild though to think that
Which
they
is
started
where we're
0-4 and you're going, God, okay. Like
Right.
even if you were somewhat optimistic at that point, you're going, well, I mean, they're playing hard. Can
Yeah.
they get it together? For them to have this type of turnaround, I don't think anyone would have predicted it.
Yeah.
It-
119.6 offensive rating, by the way.
I mean,
See, so yeah,
It's just
the other day
insane.
on Chris and Company, every day from 10 to 11, right here on Sactown Sports 1140. Nice plug.
Great plug.
I had Brendan on earlier this week, and I asked him just like the biggest surprise of the season. Is it the Kings having the best offense in the NBA in NBA history? The Kings being the number 3 seed in the Western Conference, or I mean, I guess in hindsight it's not that crazy, but 2 All-Stars. If I would have told you at the beginning of the season, it's crazy enough that all of those things are true. But if you had to pick one that you just would have been like, there's a 0% chance that has happened.
the 3 seed.
Yeah, 3 seed.
so.
Because preseason we spoke about it.
Yeah.
We were high on the offense.
Best in
Don't
NBA
think we were
history.
thinking best in NBA history.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the offense was projected to be pretty
Yeah.
good based on the pieces that were added and the 2 guys you were building in around.
Yeah.
So
Watching that offense in the second quarter last night, that was maybe peak Kings offense too. Just seeing
yeah.
what they were doing with the ball movement. Sabonis, I mean, it was giving me flashbacks to early 2000s. Sabonis behind the back passes, just disgusting. And honestly, watching them, you're like, that has some Warriors-esque feel to
yeah.
it with how they're I mean, dropping 44 and a quarter is not an easy thing to do.
No.
How many times have they done it this year? I mean, they've done it a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it
it's
happens
pretty
all the time.
crazy how explosive, and I think we talk about that so much with the Kings. Like, can they stop anyone come playoff time? But yeah, breaking news: these other teams have to try to stop the Kings.
Yeah.
exactly.
Do you feel like this offense is prepared to be productive in the playoffs?
100% because this offense is built for the playoffs. And we've spoken about it a lot, and
Yeah.
and I'm forgetting his name, which kind of makes me feel bad. But somebody from the Ringer did a piece about the DHO thing with the Kings and how the leaderboard is literally just Domantas. It's
It is
5
Domantas
pairings of
Sabonis.
Domantas Sabonis and somebody else,
Yeah.
and then like the other one is Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Like it's such a key element to this offense, and the big reason why it's such a perfect thing for the playoffs is, look, every team has a stock pick and roll coverage. Who's out there? Who's guarding that pick and roll?
Mhm.
Whoever's involved in that action on defense, okay, we're going to guard it this way. We're going to go over. We're going to go under. Big man's going to, either be at the level, he's going to be in a deep drop, or he's going to be hedging, whatever it is, right? You can't really do that on DHOs, especially not with Kevin Huerter coming off of those, especially not with Keegan Murray coming off of those. For those guys to be 6'7", 6'8", and shoot off the move like they do is crazy. And then, of course, you have just an absolute wrecking ball in Domantas Sabonis, who is the lead screen assist guy in the league, right? That's going to be tough to defend over a 7-game series. And obviously there will be adjustments and counters made by the other team on defense, but there's not really much you can do, because when you get shooters coming off of movement, and even Fox coming off of movement already taking a handoff, he's got a full head of steam going to the basket. Pick and rolls are different. It's guy with the ball, guy setting a screen, they're stationary, and then, okay, we go, right? DHOs, there's so much unpredictability to it. You can reject the DHO. Sabonis can hang on to it. He can just attack off the dribble with it, right? And obviously the big thing, like we were just talking about, it's just a shooting element of it. When you've got guys like Keegan, Kevin, Monk coming off of those DHOs, sometimes even Barnes, right? Like these guys can grab a DHO and do something with it beyond shooting, but it's really the shooting gravity that Keegan and Kevin provide that really, like, that gives me hope that over a 7-game series, that's going to be very, very difficult to stop. And I think that's the main thing about the offense that's going to make them very, very difficult to defend in a 7-game series. And look, the Warriors, if they are the potential matchup, if they end up being the matchup, they're great and everything like that. But, their 2 best defenders probably on the perimeter are coming off the bench.
Yep.
So in those starter minutes, can you attack Steph? Can you attack Clay, who's not that great anymore, right? Defensively, can you attack Jordan Poole, right? We'll see. But I think that the DHO element is the thing that really, really sets this team apart from others offensively.
And I feel like watching the Kings play Minnesota, what was that, like a week or so? I forget. It's all blending together. Last time the Kings played
last
the
Monday.
T-Wolves.
Yeah, we don't have to talk.
They played aggressive, and they didn't have as much space even coming off those dribble handoffs. What's some of the counters there when teams are up and in you? They're long, they're physical. What are the challenges in trying to overcome that?
Right. Yeah. Well, Kevin Huerter picking up early fouls,
that hurts. Yep.
Because that just, he's such an important part of the, even when his shooting absolutely cratered in February, teams still had to account for him. Right. So that sucked. But yeah, so I just mentioned rejecting the DHO, right? So you can either come off that DHO, keep curling, go right towards the basket, right? Look for something there. You can not even come around off of Sabonis's hip and then just dark back door.
Yep.
And the Kings do this a lot. We see it all the time where, okay, they'll run a DHO. If it's not there, and if Sabonis still has a dribble, well, then the guy who just curled off that DHO can just go to the other side of the basket, set a down screen, into, he sets a pin down into another handoff,
counters,
which is called Chicago or zoom action, and the Kings spam that a lot. That's I would say those are like the key ways to beat it. And look, if you're big and you're going to overplay the DHO, and if you're really going to be up in Sabonis's face, or you're going to top block that shooter or whatever, do that at your own risk, because Sabonis is just so skilled and he's just so good off the dribble that you can just, he can take it right to somebody's chest and get a layup.
And the Kings have so many high IQ guys, quick decisions. They're comfortable making these decisions on the fly. And I think that's why everything works so well for Sacramento this year. All right, we'll talk about some more of the matchups coming up. We got to take a break on the radio side. We always stay live, youtube.com/Sactown Sports at 1140.
Do you guys prefer the Clippers, Warriors, or?
You know what? I know the Pelicans are probably on the outside now at this point, but well, actually,
they're not.
Where are they at now, dude? I can't believe that was a weird ass game. Down 19, take the lead, up 6 with 11 seconds to go. Memphis ties it, goes overtime, then they win.
The most crap way to tie it to.
They had 3 guys score 30 or more last night. Brandon Ingram was not one of them. That's kind of crazy.
It's insane.
Pelicans right now, they are what? No, the Pelicans, dude, they're a game out. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I was saying the Clippers the other day. I'm gonna say the Pelicans. I think what Sacramento did I'm not trying to be a prisoner of the moment, but
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm going to bet on this,
Well, in terms
give me
of
the Pelicans.
in terms of weapons too, they probably have the least like threatening guys. I would think. Like I mean, for sure, CJ has the potential to
he's
explode.
old though.
He's
And
also
make him
struggled.
defend.
He's really struggled this year against Sacramento. Brandon Ingram can give us.
He
Real
can.
run. He's the one that's.
They did a great
they're-
job on
Their
him.
But their
Jordy's
length is
game
crazy.
plan against BI was awesome.
They were in
and
his grill.
KFR tweeted some clips about it, tweeted clips, some examples from that game of what they were doing to him, and I was like, this is a playoff preview right here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In the same way that last night was defensively a playoff preview for the Kings, right? Like that's probably what's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
But what they did to BI on Tuesday was awesome. That was, for one, obviously it was awesome to see them respond after that poor game on Sunday. But for them to bring that type of intensity for Mike Brown to put Kessler on him and to put length on him and just really gap him up and send extra help. He just could not get anything going.
No, they
like
got nothing.
7 turnovers.
Yeah, 7
Yeah.
turnovers in that game. 8 assists, 7 turnovers. He had, I think, 8 points after the first half or after the first quarter. He had 14 in the first quarter, 0
Yeah.
in the second, 4 in the.
It was a
third,
rough
4 in the
game.
fourth.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Did Ingram play against the Kings when they played here when the Kings blew them out or no?
They did. He
did,
did.
right?
He did. He
And the
did.
Kings didn't have Fox. So
Right.
they were Foxless in 2
That's what I'm
games against
saying.
the
I
Pelicans.
like that matchup probably best. Yeah. Even last night I'm watching that game against Dallas, and as frustrating as it was to see Kyrie take, he also hit some just
Yeah.
unbelievable
Yeah.
shots.
Yeah.
Tyrann had an off night.
The
offensively
Kings
as
got
well.
shook last night by the officials in that third, and I also thought offensively in the third, I was like, "What? We're just done making the extra passes? Like they settled a lot.
Yeah,
it
they did.
happens. It happens." But I wasn't as. I mean, I get it's like a preview of what could come, especially how Kyrie attacked him. But they only lost by 4 points?
Yeah.
and
It was
they had a
competitive, yeah.
terrible third quarter.
Terrible
Yeah.
first quarter too.
Yeah. I think those, and I'm sick and tired of it because we've been seeing it all season, but those kind of just throw your hands up and say whatever after a guy hits a crazy shot type of situations. What can you do?
Yeah.
And if Kyrie's doing that,
That
he's-
corner
Yeah.
three, he put that up in the damn lights.
Yeah, that was crazy. Even that shot he hit over Davion, where Davion played incredible
Oh, yeah.
defense.
I-
I
what
think
do
he
you
might
do?
have traveled, but like
Yeah.
he that's just ridiculous shot making. Like,
and
there's
much
nothing you
is
can do
made about
that.
Davion and how he's only 6 feet tall. What's his defensive effect? It's like, dude, Kyrie, that's one of those guys that he should be guarding really, really well, and he
Yeah,
did.
he
He
did.
just
He just is.
it just didn't matter.
It's just a bucket. Like
Yeah.
that's just the definition of a bucket, and that's why Kyrie's great.
Yep, they would get it together against the Kings, though.
Of course.
Who do
I
they
would
have
Of
left?
course.
I think
They have
they have a tough stretch, don't they? I think they might have. They're not the ones with Milwaukee and OKC, are they?
no.
okay.
They have you're thinking of the Grizzlies, I think.
Oh yeah, the Grizzlies.
They've got the Bulls and Spurs to end,
that's-
but they got to rely on OKC to.
Of sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Laud with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings went 1-1 on their short road trip, losing their final game 123-119 to the Dallas Mavericks. For more on last night's game, check out our Kings insider, Frankie Cardicelli's recap on SactownSports.com. Kings will be back home tomorrow night for their final home game of the regular season against the Golden State Warriors. You can listen to tomorrow's night's game right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023 Masters is underway today, and currently at the top of the leaderboard is Victor Hovland. He's 7 under through 17 holes. John Rahm is in second. He's 6 under through 16. And Adam Scott is in third. He is 5 under through 16 holes. Tiger Woods is tied for 41st right now. He's 1 over par in 17. Those are your Masters updates. It is brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, or it's all about choices and always about quality. Now back to Deuce and Mo with Chris Watkins and that local guy, Drew.
It's Deuce and Mo on your local sports leader.
Sactown Sports.
Drew, are you into the Masters at all? Or are you a Masters?
Yeah, I
guy?
am. I am.
You're a big golf guy, huh?
Yeah, I do have a hole in one to my name.
Whoa.
Do you actually?
Yes.
Where?
Hagen Oaks, hole
Way.
number 3, Alistair McKenzie course.
I mean, not
Proof-
that big a deal. I got a couple at Scandia, so
That
Totally
is
the same.
that real golf course
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's
You
how
got to
you-
do a Scandia if you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's you got to get it out the mud first before you can prove yourself anywhere else. Scandia's the place to
is
be.
the mud.
What's the moment when you hit a hole in one? What's that like?
Well, I didn't even know that it went in.
Wow.
So
You usually don't
So-
find out until you're on the green,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. It was like a depth perception thing. It just, it didn't make sense. I was playing with my buddy Chase and I asked him where to go. And he was like, "Oh, I think it went in." And I was like, "Yeah, good one." Then we drove up there and it was in the hole. So proof that it is better to be lucky than good sometimes.
Yeah.
Because aside from that, I have
100%.
nothing else.
100%.
I have nothing else to brag about in my career as a golfer. But yeah, I do. I mean, I even watch some of the random non-major tournaments. I love watching.
Wow.
Golf. Yeah.
You're
so-
a live golf guy too, huh?
I don't know. Their programming schedules all over the place, and then there are things about live,
Yes. Yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know,
Not less than ideal. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm just whenever I see Tiger out there, I'm just happy.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad he's out there because of that whole thing that happened.
So you will be locked into the Masters this weekend. Like, will you be watching or are you just checking it?
Yeah, I'll especially Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
I would say today, tomorrow. Who knows? It depends on whether or not I'm working the grill at Arby's.
Yeah,
because,
good point, good
'cause
point.
There's no
Right,
place to really
yeah.
prop my phone.
Yeah, and
right
if it
on the-
falls,
yeah,
you don't wanna,
exactly.
like, sear your screen.
And then that's $1,000 out the drain right there. I didn't get the
It's like
Apple
a
Care
month.
coverage.
Of
for my
course
phone,
not.
so-
No.
So definitely Saturday and Sunday, but and obviously Sunday's game, the Kings game on Sunday little significance.
little
in the grand
stakes.
scheme of
Yeah.
things, so probably gonna.
I'm glad you brought that up because Kings have 2 games left.
Mhm.
Warriors coming up on Friday, and then they end 12:30 tip off in Denver on Sunday. How do you approach the final 2 games? Like, I know there's some people like, oh, just rest the guys. You don't want anyone hurt.
Mhm.
I know the Kings want to get to 50 games. You have a chance to do it. How do you think they should approach things?
Well, were you guys in the crowd in 2019 that were kind of miffed about the Kings sitting dudes when they could have gotten 40 wins?
I was
Um,
beyond. I wanted 40 wins, and I'll never forget that final game of the year in Portland
Yeah,
when
when-
Scal
Yeah.
just destroyed the Kings.
Anthony Simons.
They had
too,
6 players in that game. Didn't
Yeah.
we just
Yes,
look
they-
that
yeah,
up?
we
They,
just
they
looked it
played
up, yeah.
6 guys in the
6
game
guys.
and beat Sacramento.
Yeah.
You're like, can you get 40?
Who's playing for
Yeah,
us?
and Jaeger
Yeah.
sat all the starters in the second
Yeah.
half, which I was totally fine with it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want 50 wins.
You
But-
do? Why
but-
is 50 important?
because that's like a thing. It's so and so has
Mhm.
this. We don't brag about. Oh, this team had
48 wins.
this
49
team
wins.
had
Yeah.
15 consecutive years of 40. Well, the Spurs
Yeah.
did that, and that was kind of a big deal. But the Spurs had like 15 or so
Yeah,
seasons
60,
consecutively of
yeah.
50 plus wins, right? And nobody ever says, "Oh, great on them. They've got 3 straight years of 40 plus wins."
Yeah.
All right, and around here, maybe that would be
Yeah,
you know,
it
would. It would.
given what preceded this,
Right.
that might be a big deal. But yeah, 50's the number. We always talk about from 2000, the 2001 or to the 2000 and 2001 season until the 2004-2005 season. There's 5 straight 50-win seasons for the Kings,
Mhm.
right? So,
That was it.
and that was
Yeah.
it. So this could be the beginning of a new 50 plus win streak. But also, I do understand the value of resting your guys. I do understand that
Fear of
especially-
injury.
Yes,
I think
and-
that's the one because
Yeah.
rest
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, they're going to be off until
they'll be off
next
for a
Saturday,
week. Yeah.
probably
Mhm.
the 15th. It's a long time to be off. And
It is, yeah.
by the way, Mike Brown, they're going to be practicing that whole week. And
Yeah.
you know they're going to go hard anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, there are obviously some huge implications tomorrow night,
Yeah.
Friday night against the
Yeah.
Warriors.
Mm,
It could go in the extreme both ways for the Warriors.
Yeah.
A win obviously kind of puts the destiny in their hands as to what they do
Mhm.
with their final game of the season. They can just tank that, or they can, just try to win. And then
They're
they
going to
can-
tank it if they beat the Kings
Right.
for sure.
Yeah,
They don't
1000%.
want to play Phoenix in
Right,
round
yeah,
one.
nobody wants to play Phoenix, right? And then of course the Clippers play Phoenix on the final day, and there's that whole element. Or if the Kings win tomorrow night, I mean, there's a crazy scenario where the Warriors are in the play-in
Yeah.
instead of being the 6th seed. So obviously there's a lot at stake tomorrow night. I would imagine the Kings trot out their regular guys and play the regular minutes tomorrow night. It will be, in effect, it will be like a playoff type atmosphere, right? So why
Yeah.
not get your guys that run and that type of experience in a regular season when you can get it? But I mean, dude, if they win against the Warriors on Friday night, it would be pretty cool. Even if they tried out a bunch of end of bench and Keon Ellis and Namias K, like they trot those guys out there, it'd be cool to win that game just to get to 50
It'd be
wins.
great.
And I think Denver is going to rest their
Be
guys
great,
that
yeah.
final game anyway. So it's like your reserves against theirs, and you could still
That's
get
how
to
it should
50.
be.
Dude, Friday night's going to be pretty awesome to see how the Kings
Yeah.
respond at home against the Warriors team. It's such a unique thing. because usually when you take on this type of matchup late in the year,
Mhm.
maybe there are more teams resting at this point, and they're
Yeah.
not matching up. This team could be they could be playing each other in the first round of the
Mhm.
playoffs, like in a week.
Yeah.
And they're playing each other in a significant game.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how like both coaches approach it, because the Warriors need the win, but like how much do you want to show if you
Mhm.
do play
Right.
each other?
Yep.
That's going to be fun.
It's going to be so fun. And the energy is what I'm looking forward to the most. Just how do the Kings come out? I feel like, in that Minnesota game, it just feels like every game that the Kings have needed to, like, people have wanted to see them come out with a certain level of energy. It doesn't feel like they ever take advantage. It doesn't feel like there's ever a situation where it's like, yeah, they come out in the first quarter, really set the tone, get the crowd behind them. It's always actually the opposite, where
Mhm.
it feels like they allow the other team to kind of, get comfortable, get into a rhythm, let the opposing fans, if there are any in the crowd, get into it. And I would love to see, I think it's going to be an incredibly competitive game. I don't think the Warriors are going to, even if the Kings do get up early, they're not going to let up. It should definitely be a good one, and high stakes. High stakes is what you want at this point in the season. And we talked about it earlier, but this is you getting those reps that you don't have previously. This is how you kind of it's a perfect ramp up situation. Honestly, these past 3 games have been a perfect scenario for the Kings. You want to play these high intensity, high importance games for the other team and not have it mean as much for you, so the stakes aren't as serious for you, but still being in that atmosphere, still learning how to play in those kind of environments is huge for this team.
Where's your confidence level with this team as we head into the playoffs?
I think it was wavering a little bit after Sunday,
Mhm.
because there were some very unconvincing. I mean, even the 2 games in Portland,
yeah.
it
I
took
didn't
them a
Yeah.
little while to put those teams
Mhm.
away, and that team is in effect tanking right at this point in the season.
I would say so.
But man, that performance on Tuesday against the Pelicans was so impressive. It was just so clinical, which was something that we hadn't seen in a while. And you kind of think to yourself, yeah, this team's capable of doing that. They still have that in them. And last night, even though it was a tough loss, it was a very, very well played game up until the middle of the third quarter, when things kind of started falling apart. So, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like an 8.5.
Yeah.
8.5
Mhm.
on the
That's
1 to 10
great.
scale.
That's
Yeah.
great to feel like that at this point.
It's really the offense carrying that, though,
Yeah.
because and a lot of people have been saying this. A lot of national people who have been covering the team, a lot of like my favorite like X's and O's accounts that I follow,
Yeah.
they always say, "Man, this Kings team always runs their stuff. You can't get them out of
Yeah.
running their stuff. Like, they will run it to death, and they have a counter for everything, and they've layered it on all this stuff." It's really the offense that's carrying that right now. And then also I have a lot of confidence, obviously, in the coaching staff. This is such an insanely deep coaching staff. They have
Yeah.
so much experience and knowledge in that staff. So really, it's those 2 things carrying it. Obviously, the defense kind of makes you shudder a little bit thinking about it sometimes,
Yeah.
but I'm fairly confident in this team. And then with a week of prep leading up to the game, if you're the 3 seed, you know who you're playing, right? You get a week full of watching tape, knowing who you're playing, knowing what to do in practice in order to properly prepare for that team that you're going to be facing. I think the confidence level, for me personally, is pretty high.
Yeah, I wish I could feel his confidence.
The Pelicans game made
I'm
me
pretty
feel
nervous.
at a different level about the team, because seeing what they did defensively in that game, I went, okay, cool. Like the Spurs game did make me feel bad, but to me, that's a mindset thing. You got to be ready to go engage. They just got outplayed. I feel like they went through the motions. You're not going to have that type of mindset headed into the playoffs, I would assume.
I don't know, but I don't feel great about the fact that they did. I love how they played defensively against New Orleans the other day, but a part of me is pretty discouraged by the fact that we didn't see that same, even in my opinion, nothing close to the same level of intensity last night. And to me, it's not showing the ability to do it is great, because personally, I've had a lot of questions. Mike Brown has said that his team has played good defense at periods. I haven't really seen much of it, but that Pelicans game was a full example of them locking down and playing defense. But anybody can do it for a given night. It's about making it a part of, like, can you do it every single night, especially in the playoffs? You can't just, set the tone one night and be like, yeah, we have potential to do that to you any given night. You have to do it every single night. Defense is an every single night thing. You can't just do it when it's convenient for you or when you're trying to make a point.
It's funny though. I just feel like the defense last night, it
wasn't
wasn't
terrible.
I
but
felt like their
wasn't there.
offense hurt their defense. Like you get Kyrie in transition, cross matches everywhere, miscommunication. Like
Sure.
there were some weird things that happened. You know, we were talking about Davion competing with Kyrie.
Yeah, for
Kyrie
sure.
made some tough shots,
Yeah.
right? And he hunted some mismatches for sure. I didn't feel like they had a ton of breakdowns. I felt like offensively, they were taking some quick shots, long rebounds, and then it's here we go, or a turnover.
Yeah.
So I wasn't as discouraged with the defense last night as maybe some others.
Yeah, I'm probably with you on that. Funny because I just talked about how everybody's saying this team always runs their stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then they started, they settled last night, and that's honestly probably a good thing that Mike Brown can harp on and have recent tape for. You know, he can say whenever they're watching tape, this is what happens when you don't run the stuff.
Here's second quarter, here's third.
Yes, there you go. We scored 44 points in this quarter. Why do you think that is? They scored 45 points in that third quarter against Phoenix a couple of weeks ago. Why do you think that is? Yeah, it helps when Kevin Huerter just goes on an absolute heater. But other than that, it's because they ran their stuff.
Mhm.
And when they get away from that is when they get in a little bit of trouble. And Fox and Sabonis are only going to bail you out so many times. So, yeah, I do think that kind of went hand in hand last night. The offense wasn't what it should have been, wasn't looking like what it usually is. And then in turn, that hurt them on defense.
All right, coming up next, so I want to play Rank the Opponents with Drew.
Cool.
Just get his perspective
Do it.
on the potential playoff matchups. It's Deuce and Mo, Chris Watkins, Drew, a.k.a. that local guy. This is Sactown Sports 1140. By the way, how does it get this hot in here? Is it hot in here?
It's
dude?
one or the other. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's either 100.
I saw
or
you guys
10.
wearing jackets when I turned the live stream earlier, and I
Yeah.
was like, do I bring
No.
a jacket?
It's it literally it either the AC runs and I think there's 2 vents here, so it gets freezing, or it shuts off, and then all of these computers and
It's so
things
nice
heat up the
outside,
room.
though, man. I was
Like
like, I
the
looked
view?
outside. I was like, I'm not gonna put on a sweater.
I am
it's
so
nice
glad.
outside,
Yeah,
man.
what's the weather looking like these days?
It's like low mid 60s, but I mean, it's just straight.
as long as
sunshine.
it's not raining. Yeah, it's just. It's
I didn't see any rain in the forecast, so
oh my
Man.
gosh, 75 degrees on Sunday.
on
Wow.
Sunday 75. Dude, I'm not gonna watch golf. I think I might just go. out and play.
Man,
play.
and the
76
Kings
on
play
Monday.
an early afternoon game.
Woo! We say some
Enjoy the evening.
daytime beam. Do we know if it works during the day?
I
don't
pulled up
think
to the beam.
Yeah, you did the other day,
Tuesday.
right?
I
Yeah.
think they turned it on 8 o'clock on the dot because
So
it
you
was-
just can't see it.
you just
yeah.
couldn't see it. Yeah, and it couldn't clearly be seen until like 8:15.
Yeah. Because I remember for the college basketball games when they won during them, they light the beam during those games, and it was semi-visible. I feel like when we walked out, I
Yeah.
just don't remember what time it was.
Yeah, and we were like, what?
It was like
That was the week of daylight savings.
Yeah.
Time, right? So,
yeah.
That's when the TV broadcast. The Kings won the game,
Yeah.
and they had the pre-taped
Yeah,
like
they had
beams,
Yes,
pre-taped
they did that the other day.
and it's like
it was nighttime. Yeah.
wait, a
sunny
second.
outside, and there's no one outside
Yeah.
the arena. What is happening?
Yeah, so I wonder
Strange.
how that's gonna work come playoff time because we're getting tons of daylight back.
Yeah.
You guys are just assuming we're seeing a whole bunch of beams in the playoffs. I like it. I'm excited for
I would
that.
hope. I would hope that the Kings can at the least, you have to win one at home. That's
Yeah, they're
fine.
gonna have to steal one at home.
That's
They're
a
in
good
the-
point. Yeah,
they're in the unique position of having to steal one.
Dude,
in
can
their
you
home
imagine if
arena.
that continues where they
That's
just they crush it on the road
Yeah.
every
Undefeated
time?
on the
Yeah.
road. Yeah.
Seeing as how they're like the best team ever on the
Yeah,
road.
on the road. It's crazy.
Rami had a great idea for the beam of lighting one for each win that you
That's-
get in the playoffs.
That's what I said. I said you should do that too.
I don't know that they have that
They don't have
technology.
that
I don't think they do.
capability, no.
But next year.
I
next
can't
playoffs.
remember the cost, but someone told me how much it costs to light the beam.
Just for like a night.
Just for
Are
yeah,
we talking tens?
no, it's in the thousands.
But it's staggering, isn't it?
Yeah,
So one playoff ticket.
on the secondary market. Hey
Maybe
man,
there.
I guess it pays to be a season ticket member for
Yeah.
a long time because those people are gotten,
they took care of their season ticket holders.
which I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect it. And
I
look,
hope so.
it's tough.
Yep.
It's in demand.
out
I
here.
mean, people want these tickets.
Yeah. Next season's gonna be.
It's gonna be be
mess.
interesting, man. Because
I
what
just-
happens next season if they're not quite as good as this, they're roughly the same, and
Right.
they're charging title contender prices.
Are you
Wish they will.
concerned about the vibes at the arena with the cost of the prices? Like,
Oh,
are
yeah.
we going to get the same?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot. Well, even in that Minnesota game, fans were leaving with like 5
Yeah.
mintes to go.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is
Yeah.
this?"
I
doing?
do think a part of that, though, the Kings played so bad. in that
Yeah,
I mean, it
game.
was a big dud. It was a huge dud, but I it was disappointing to see people leave. with
Yeah,
that much
I agree.
time. Like that, to me,
especially in
was, like,
today's NBA.
very
Like,
casual.
yeah.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Morgan Reagan is off. She'll be back tomorrow. It's Deuce Mason, Chris Watkins hanging out with that local guy, Drew. We were talking during the break on the YouTube feed about what the vibe could be like at Golden One Center. I think for years, I'm like, I just can't wait till that first playoff game. The vibes are going to be insane. It's going to be so loud. I think there is some concern seeing like some of the secondary ticket prices where you're like, oh, $800 to get an upper level seat on StubHub. Like that's what kind of vibes are we going to have? The people that are super into it. Do you think it's going to change the environment?
Well, if you got a blue collar job like me at Arby's, you can easily afford one of those tickets.
for
So
for sure.
I mean, it's rethink your career aspirations. We are always hiring, but that's what I'm afraid of. A lot of, and there are some good Warriors fans out there, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I'm friends with many, and they said it was tough when they got priced out of Oracle.
yeah.
And it really wasn't quite the same as they call it Roracle. They called it Roracle, right?
Right.
That was gone. That was gone the
Like
second
that too, right? Like,
literally
I mean,
immediately,
yeah.
because I mean you're in the heart of the tech world, right?
Mhm.
People will make that commute up there. All the tech bros from Silicon Valley would just come up and just buy every ticket.
Yeah.
So is that going to happen here? I hope not. From what I understand, a lot of the season ticket holders did a good job of obviously purchasing their own seats for the playoffs and then purchasing extra for people who they know will be Kings fans. Still, though, man, some of those prices, I don't fault some season ticket holders for trying to recoup some of their losses because they need to put that up there in order to get their money back, and that could go to anybody, right?
And you could sell a game one ticket right now and pay for maybe your
Next
first
season.
round.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing that makes it tough. And that's what makes it tough when you go on StubHub and list him or whatever ticket site, because you be selling to the opposing fan. My message to all those rich people who could be scooping up tickets, really, just bring the energy. Just please, just get. I know you guys don't work hard for your money, and you get all these tax breaks and all this stuff, and just please, that's your time to actually put in work, is that night.
Also, if you are a rich person that has a ticket to the game, and would like a fan to go and just use your name and be you as a fan, I would gladly rent myself out for that.
Dude, that's big of you, Chris.
If your name is
that's really big.
John Thompson's like, I'm kind of a quiet guy, but I really want to go to the game, but I really want my presence to be known. I will go for you, John. I will be the loudest, craziest fan that I could be, and you will get the credit for it.
And also, if
so
you're
cool,
a really
dude.
rich person and you're listing your ticket, just find a Kings fan to give it to him at face value.
Yeah.
I had someone do that for me for
Really?
a World
Oh, that's
Series
dope.
game
That's
5,
so cool.
Giants Royals, Mad Bum on the Hill. I knew a guy who had season tickets. And I was like, hey, if they go 5, I'd love to have a chance to buy your ticket.
Man,
and
that
he
is
gave
so
it was
cool.
$125 for an upper level seat.
That's incredible.
That's insanity,
Yeah.
because I remember
those are
as
tickets.
a poor
I'm-
college student at
Those
the time,
tickets
I was
were
like,
unobtainable.
That person is almost as good as me, because when the Sac Republic was in the championship game, as a season ticket holder, you got up to 10 tickets.
Wow.
So what did I do? I bought as many as I could and said, hey, Republic fans, face value, come get them.
That's awesome.
That's nice.
Dude,
I think that's what you got to do.
Yeah. And that was 2014, the USL Championship in 2014. Yeah,
The bad thing was I accidentally sold my ticket, and then I had to sneak my way into the stadium.
Jesus Christ. It sounds
Classic
like
Verlaud move.
that's why you just shouldn't be nice.
I do not want to see a single rich person. I hate the vibe.
You could just stop there.
Yeah, I honestly could. I'm gonna wear a dress shirt to the basketball game and put a shirt or a jersey over said dress shirt. Leave.
And they're always
Get
putting
out.
it's a Kevin
Get
it's a Kevin Herter jersey every time.
I don't blame him. I mean, he's my best friend, so
Yeah.
I gotta kind of. I'm not gonna be mad at you for doing that, but yeah, probably.
He's
Yeah.
gonna be a big.
Before you go,
K9
Drew,
guy.
I want to play rank the opponents. So the most likely opponents for the Kings to play in the first round: Clippers, Warriors, Lakers, Pelicans.
Okay.
Rank them, 1 being the one that you'd be like, okay, I most would like to see them, and then 4 being the one you're like, I'd rather not deal with in the first round.
Doing okay over there, Chris?
That got me. That got me.
I would say 1 would be the Pelicans. That game plan on Tuesday on Brandon Ingram was exceptional by the Kings. They did not let him get into a rhythm. Obviously, you're not going to do that for all 7 games of a 7-game series, but they've shown that they can neutralize him, and they haven't really been able to neutralize that many stars that year. So Pelicans 1, Clippers 2. Don't like the idea that you're going up against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George over a 7-game series, but they have proven that they can beat that team. They've beaten them 3, I would say twice. The first time they beat them this season down in LA, they didn't have PG or PG or Kawhi Leonard, so you can kind of, that one was kind of a special case. But I would still say I'd rather face that team because you're probably expecting shootouts when the Kings win, and the Kings played the greatest shootout. They played in the greatest shootout of this century when they played the Clippers a couple months ago. So probably the Clippers would be 2. And I think obviously with both those fans, you're not getting many opposing fans in the arena.
Exactly.
Tons of Pelicans fans out there.
So yeah. Oh yeah, they exist, right?
Yeah.
3 would be
so tough.
Oof.
I would say 3. I would probably want the Warriors.
Wow.
Over the Lakers. Now,
Come on,
obviously,
Deuce.
you're getting
Deuce.
you're getting fans that it's
The fan factor is weighing heavily here.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
But I mean, also just like defensively, they're exploitable.
Mhm.
They have just not been good all year,
Yep.
even with Andrew Wiggins in the picture, right? And I know he's coming back. Who knows what he's going to be like when he steps back out on the court there for the first time in a few months. So we'll see about that. And the reason why I don't want to face the Lakers is their fans really are everywhere.
It might be better for the Kings. More Laker fans in the building. It's a road
It'll
game.
be a road game. Okay, that's
We win.
true. Yeah,
We win.
That might be the case.
And then you go undefeated in the playoffs.
But man, they have been really, really good since the league conspired and said we need this team in the playoffs, so let's just gift them
Danny
extremely valuable role players.
Guys.
D'Lo is so important for that team, being able to initiate offense next to LeBron.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, Jared Vanderbilt's a guy that would have been a dream here in Sacramento had he been gettable at the deadline. He's been fantastic for them. I've seen him do some crazy things out there on defense, and they're one of the better defensive teams in the league since that trade happened. AD's back, assuming he stays healthy. He was the Western Conference Player of the Week last week. He averaged like 36 points a game or whatever it was, and LeBron's LeBron. Don't want to deal with LeBron.
Yeah, the trauma factor also for a potential loss. If we were to lose a 3-6 series to the Lakers, all of the PTSD, all of the previous trauma that would just come straight to the front for so many. It would not be worth it.
And it would be on like you'd lose like a game 4 on an Austin Rivers game winner. Something like that.
Austin Reeves.
Reeves.
Come on, dude,
sorry.
don't disrespect.
Generational whistle,
bad.
by the way. Austin Reeves.
What is up with that? Why is Reeves getting all these calls?
Generational whistle. We see Sabonis get clobbered in the face every single game.
Blood.
Austin Reeves gets, somebody breathes on him. He gets 2 free throws.
Okay, so who would feel the best to beat that? Would it be the Lakers? Would it be Lakers or Warriors feeling the best?
We have demons to exercise.
Does it really exercise those demons if you beat the Lakers now?
For me, it does. It's personal. It's personal for local guy.
I think I would go Golden State one.
Just to end the Warriors.
Their fans.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, like,
pretty
would that
annoying.
really end them?
I think it would. Bob Myers is like, I'm out. I can't.
Right.
Draymond's
Draymond.
gone.
Yeah,
Draymond.
Draymond. That's right. Draymond's on and expiring. Oh man.
Mike Brown being his old team.
Yeah.
It would be pretty poetic.
Yeah, and there's
Vivek taunting Lacob.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Light years ahead, huh?
That would be a lot of fun. And there was always talk about, hey, these two teams have never been in the playoffs at the same time,
right?
Ever since
Crazy.
Both teams moved out here to the West Coast. So the fact that is in play potentially, and they could meet one another in the first round. I mean, that would also be fun. It'd be fun being both teams, but
beating Braun in a series would be pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
That would be pretty awesome.
People will find a way to diminish that, though.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, he's old.
Yeah, he's
He's
38.
really good.
Yeah, congratulations, you beat a
Washed.
38-year-old LeBron. But no, I think both wins would be incredibly satisfying for us fans. I just have the Lakers ranked up a little bit more because I don't know. Generally, I see more annoying Lakers fans too.
Oh yeah.
You know, like just everybody's a future Laker. You know, they complain about officiating, which is hilarious. That whole thing. I lately they've kind of been getting on my nerves a little bit more, but I think it'd be satisfying to beat.
I think either one is pretty satisfying
for sure.
Bring it on. Well, Drew, appreciate you coming in as always, dude. Thanks so much
for having me.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Drew's the best. Follow him on Twitter. That local guy. He is the GOAT. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes. It's Deuce and Mo. Chris Watkins filling in for Morgan on Sactown Sports 1140. Clear. Hey, hit that thumbs up, YouTube chat. Dude, thanks for coming in.
Oh, of course.
Are you going to be there on Friday?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Nice. How'd you scan that?
I had standing room only at first.
Yeah.
And then one of my buddies who works in ticket sales yesterday, we actually ran the same acting class together.
Really?
Yeah, and I show up. I walk.
Wait, who?
Am I allowed to say?
Here. Hey guys, what's up, YouTube chat? Hit that thumbs up. Drew's the best. I love that guy. Also, like, he could totally
crazy.
He's one of those guys that I go, if he wanted to do like a show, I know he does a podcast, and he's
I know
he could do one.
The entire time I was like, do you want to switch spots?
Great voice.
He's great. He's hilarious.
Great knowledge. Yeah. Funny.
Can I also say King's Twitter might be like one of the best communities online.
It is.
Best and worst. Best and worst.
You're right.
If you keep your group, if you just
Drew's a good follow. Drew's a good follow.
See, now that I think about it, I'm not getting the stuff that you're getting.
Yeah,
on Twitter.
People cannot be great sometimes. There's definitely a couple people out there who are pretty toxic and just always upset or
have you been on King's Twitter?
Me?
That's what we're talking about.
I'm sorry.
Reddit.
Reddit is what I meant.
Yeah, I definitely don't check Reddit as much as I should and much as I want to.
I like Reddit.
Yeah, I hear King's Reddit is really good. Here, there's a lot of good nuggets on there. Here, there's a lot of good conversation.
I have a King's Reddit burner.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's fun.
Would it be like?
It's just
it like,
not. So Reddit just gives you random names.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Sometimes,
yeah.
You could change it. It's whatever the random name is.
Okay,
do you trust yourself to throw people off?
I don't actually comment. I don't comment, but I upvote. I'll upvote a lot or downvote.
Can you see? I don't really.
I think they could see you upvote, but no.
I mean, it does matter. Interesting. I don't quite understand how Reddit even works.
What do you mean?
Is it it's more just you post?
It's a community. You join. You could post
a blog. You can comment on said blog.
You could post a story, a Twitter link. You could post an original content. just
I
a
thought
discussion.
you
It's
can't promote your own stuff, right?
Well,
like you can't put like
you
Deuce
could-
Mo podcast.
I mean,
tonight.
you
like,
could, but I don't think it would have success because like part of the thing is like it's a community. Like, don't just come here and spam your links. Like,
Yeah,
people
It's
share
gotta be
cool
productive or
things, or
something,
like,
yeah.
if you're
It can
just
be a
there to
cool
self
clip or
promote,
something. Yeah.
it's not going to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I've seen a
yeah.
lot of our podcast stuff on there over the
Yeah.
years, but we never post. People
KHTK.
post it.
Yeah.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Verlotti, your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings went 1-1 on their short road trip, losing their final game 123-119 to the Dallas Mavericks. For more on last night's game, check out our Kings insider Frankie Cardicelli's recap on SactownSports.com. Kings will be back home tomorrow night for their final home game of the regular season against the Golden State Warriors. You can listen to tomorrow's game right here on Sactown Sports. 2023 Masters is underway, and the current leaders are Victor Hovland and John Ram. They're both in the clubhouse at 7 under par. Cameron Young is in third. He's 5 under par. He finished 5 under par for the day. And Tiger Woods is also done. He's tied for 55th. He is +2 for his first day at the Masters. Your Masters update is brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality. Now back to Deuce Mo with our co-host, Chris Watkins.
It's Deuce and Mo on your local sports leader.
Sactown Sports.
Morgan Reagan is off today. She'll be back tomorrow right here on Sactown Sports 1140. So it's Deuce Mason hanging out with Chris Watkins. You can hear his show Monday through Friday starting at 10 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Always live too. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. Appreciate the YouTube people hanging out with us. Chris, I don't know if you saw this, by the way. Did you see the drama a little bit in Sacramento last night?
No, what?
You know,
What are you
Fernando
talking about?
Tatis
Oh,
in town
yes, he was
on
yeah.
a rehab assignment,
Mhm.
crushed a home run
Really?
last night at
Oh, I
Sutter
didn't
Health
see that.
Park. Yeah, it was a blast and a half. And it's really weird. He's still suspended, but he's
Yeah.
2 weeks left in suspension. So he's in with the AAA guys
Yeah.
in
How is
El
that?
Paso.
How is that allowed? Is it
So-
just an MLB suspension?
He got booed while rounding the bases. Like the shout out Sacramento people just booing the hell out of this guy. Cheater, you
Yeah.
suck. He also caught some flack on social media from Cade McClure.
Oh, shout out Cade.
Okay, dude. So he was the pitcher who allowed the home run.
Oh,
McClure responded to a video highlight of the homer and called the 2-time Silver Slugger a cheater who was playing in the game because of a steroid suspension.
jeez.
Are you allowed to do that if you give up the home run, though?
Yeah, it definitely is like, maybe have one of your teammates
Yeah.
pick up for you or something, or, maybe say something like as he's rounding the bases yourself. I mean, sure, I can't believe people really still, the Tatis situation wasn't great last year, but I'm surprised that, people really seem to, I get why the players care, obviously, but the fans, for the fans.
Just to be clear, right? And no pun intended on the cream and clear here.
Huh.
So if Barry Bonds shows up at
That's-
Sutter Health Park,
that was my thought.
standing ovation.
Yeah,
tip of the cap.
absolutely.
Tatis,
Oh, you cheater! You ruined the game.
You suck.
Integrity.
They just don't like Tatis. And it's
Yeah.
funny. It's all good fun. I just thought it was hilarious that the guy who threw the
Yeah.
pitch is tweeting about that.
Yeah, definitely. I've never been a fan of. Yeah, don't talk after the game. Do your talking during the game, bro, and also don't give up the home run.
Exactly.
That's kind of the thing. If you don't want people flipping the bats, don't throw a strike over the middle.
Yeah. What are you doing? Masters is on. You're not that into it. You're not a Masters
I think
guy.
it's not really. I think I do enjoy golfing. I enjoy playing golf, but watching it doesn't quite do it for me. The excitement's not really there. Plus, golf is definitely one of those sports that's about the characters. There's a reason why in Chris's update there he gave Tiger Woods is up. Tiger
That's
Woods
the
is
guy. That's the
55th place, and that's the only guy I care about. That's the only way you're going to catch me really intently watching this on Sunday, is if Tiger is somehow even in the race. If I can just see his name on that top 5 leaderboard I'll watch. But that's the only way you're getting me to watch the Masters. I'm sorry.
Every year people talk about this, but it's kind of funny to look at it. Just the menu prices.
Yeah. Doesn't
Like,
make any sense.
Ham and cheese on rye is $3 at the Masters. I was thinking about that. I know they can get away with it at arenas and stadiums. Just imagine they just had like normal prices. You go up, it's like Costco. Hey, I want a slice of pizza, $1.50. Yeah. Instead, it's $9 for a slice of pizza at a Kings game.
I think the difference would be that you would probably have to pay for it on the front end with the ticket price. The ticket price would probably be a little higher. I think I was on with Dave and Jason earlier, and they were saying that a 4-day pass for the Masters, $14,000 for a 4-day pass at the Masters.
Is that true?
It didn't make sense to me because I was like, that's
a resale
that's
market?
Quite literally more than my rent for a year.
Wow.
So you can either pay to live in Lamb Park or you can go to the Masters for 4 days. I am not 100%. I did not check their numbers, but that would be why the food is probably so cheap, because if you're going to spend an arm and a leg to even get in, I would hope that the food would at least be affordable. And who even knows if it's decent, but I would assume it's probably okay.
Ham and cheese on rye. It sounds like it might be all right, but
it's not the most inspiring meal for
$3 is almost too cheap where you go, it's not good.
Yes.
It's not good.
And you're having it in muggy Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia facts.
Like it's from last year's at the Masters. It's just in the fridge. Like, I think the key is you need to list it at $7 because that's cheap, and it's cheaper probably for it. You go, oh, that's not too bad. 3 makes it feel like I'm getting something gross.
Tax the rich, dude. Tax the rich. Absolutely. Let's raise the price of the Masters hot dog, please. That's I completely agree, because I'm always if something's too cheap, it's like,
I'm out.
All right, that probably tells me how much you spent on the ingredients and what I should expect with the quality of this meal. So you're right. They do need to find, there is a definite sweet spot of like, this is still cheap, but also it's not
like $6.50. You'd be like, well, that's a good deal. Yeah. $3, it's suspect for sure.
Especially with like all those like middle-aged white men. They love talking about, oh, what a bargain. Oh my God. The Masters.
You know
my
what?
God.
That's when you do know you're getting older though, is when like you're
have gas conversations.
I go to Costco and I come out there and go, man, tell you, man, great deal.
Great deal.
The LaCroix, I got $3 off. You get a 12-pack at the store. It's like, $8. I just
like
got
68 cents a LaCroix.
It's unbelievable.
It's crazy, these prices.
Can you believe the Impossible Burgers here? You get them at the store. You can't find
them. They almost taste like real meat these days. You can't even tell the difference. It's crazy, man.
So the Kings are off today after a back-to-back. They lost yesterday to Dallas Mavericks. We talked a lot about that game. Some of the interesting subplots we talked about with Dallas, we did mention Mark Cuban's comments. That wasn't the only thing yesterday that happened. So Tim Hardaway Sr. was on with Craig Carton the other day on Fox Sports 1.
Tough.
And he was very critical of the Mavs. Of course, his son, Tim Hardaway Jr., plays on Dallas. He said, they're missing a leader. Luka is not a leader. Kyrie is not a leader. Jalen Brunson was a leader. A leader shows by example by playing defense. When he says something, he does it also. Those two guys are not leaders. They're dominant, great scorers.
Spot the lie. I frankly don't really see anything wrong, factually wrong with what Tim Hardaway Sr. said. Obviously, there's the whole element of I did see that his son Tim Hardaway Jr. had to come out and flat out deny he said, I do not stand with my father. I cannot co-sign what he said.
He says, I disagree 1,000% on this. Like I said, my dad made a mistake. It's his opinion, not mine. We're two different human beings.
For sure.
One, what would you do if your dad put you in a situation like this?
So mad. And like we've seen, first off, let me answer your question. I would not be happy with my father. And especially because it's more, even if it is his own opinion and we didn't talk about it beforehand, it would just be like, you have to understand that this is going to be a direct, like the assumption is naturally going to be me and my dad had a conversation. Some of this is probably based in things that I've told you, even if it is your own opinion, we've clearly had a conversation about, even if he didn't say Luka is a great leader, he probably said Jalen is our actual leader, and his dad might have drawn conclusions from there, but it's just not a good look. I mean, you don't need somebody speaking for you.
You put your child in a really tough spot. It makes you remember Marvin Bagley's
Right.
dad, who was on Twitter all the time
All the
taking
time.
shots, and then Marvin would never like address it.
Mhm.
And people got on Marvin, like, dude, come out and say it. I'm of the belief though, like as someone who has some really crazy situations when it comes to family, like
Yeah.
I don't speak to my mom or dad. If my mom or dad started saying stuff about like me and coworkers,
Yeah.
I'm like, they're crazy. I don't have to address it. Trust me, I don't have the same beliefs as them.
Yeah.
I don't have the same anything as them besides maybe some looks. And that's not even a great thing, but it does put your son or daughter in such a
It's just
tough,
a bad situation. I mean, and that was the whole thing with like LeVar Ball too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we're really far past that. But even like I remember, I think De'Aaron's dad had a tweet about something about Marvin's situation at least one time, and De'Aaron pretty much like shut it down. He said he had a conversation with his dad and was like, we're not doing
stopping
this.
this.
And I think that's frankly, I think it's a conversation not just in basketball. We're talking about basketball people, and I think that's just a professional athlete problem in general, and not just with parents specifically, but with close friends, with cousins, with all relatives. Everything is you get to the pros, and your family sees a platform, and you know they try and speak for you. And I think every athlete at some point, professional especially, has to have a conversation with their family, and they need to understand that you are a business. Like your character, everything about what you do and what you say also affects me, especially if you're going to say it publicly. And, you know, this isn't that big of a situation specifically, but, you know, if Tim Hardaway Sr. says the wrong thing, people can be like, I don't know if I want Tim Jr. here because he's clearly, you know, sowing in some sort of distrust. Or if, you know, you could say Tim Hardaway Jr. blew up this Mavericks situation because, you know, Luka is upset. I don't know. It can just affect so many things that it's irresponsible. It's an unnecessary problem that is easily avoidable.
It's what you said is accurate though. Like, find the lie. What Tim Hardaway Sr. said about it. I mean, I think that's the Mavs are lacking a lot of things, but having a true leader out there.
How do you feel about Jay Kidd as a coach? Because I also saw in Mark Cuban's statements that he reaffirmed what Nico Harrison said, that they plan that Jason, I think the quote is Jason Kidd is our guy, quote unquote.
It's so tough. I struggle with these topics with like someone like Jason Kidd because, you know, his first couple of stops weren't great.
Yeah.
But there are some things in Milwaukee he did well.
Mm-hmm.
His first stop in Brooklyn
right?
was just like, what a messy situation.
All I remember from that is him spilling the drink. That's
he had like KG and Pierce and Darren Williams at the end.
Yeah.
It was just a weird situation, high expectations. I think in Dallas,
especially I'm more considering like from a leadership perspective, like you said. I mean, they're just.
I think he's got an ability to connect with guys.
Yeah.
But to me, if you can't get through to Luka, Jason Kidd, you're a Hall of
Fame
player.
Right.
You've done it all
recently too. It's not even like, you know, you have to. Luka should know who Jason Kidd is.
Right. You have to find a way to get through to him, and it doesn't all fall on you.
Yeah.
But if you can't get through to him, it's tough, and that's a challenge for a coach, right? And I think what makes what the great coaches so special is they have the ability to get through and get the buy-in from their best guy.
Stars, exactly.
And Luka, I think
it's on him too.
It's not just Luka. There's other stars in the league that you feel like this guy can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that type of culture, you're not going to win long term. I think you can counter that and go, what about LeBron? Yeah, no, LeBron's great.
That's why he's great though.
He's one of the greatest of all time, but that's a different conversation. You can't let one player run the show.
Do you feel like Luka is, I mean, like I said, I think part of his coachability is obviously like Luka has to make himself a little bit more coachable. Do you like, who is a coach that you feel like would gain Luka's respect? Like does it have to be like a Craig Popovich and Eric Spoelstra? Like it feels like he's almost like you're saying, like, this is probably very sports radio takey, but like, is he too talented almost to coach? Like, is it hard to try and tell him it? Because it does seem like there's, especially when it seems like Dallas is even on the, like their entire roster is pretty much built around, hey, like put pieces around Luka.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger issue, I don't even think it's that Luka doesn't respect Jason Kidd. I think there is a relationship there, but Luka can't get out of his own way, dude.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he's got to understand that and I think he does. And this is where it's very similar to DeMarcus Cousins, where DeMarcus would say the right things, but like in the moment, there's that rage on the floor.
Yeah.
Luka has that same rage where he can't let something go.
Yeah, he like sees red.
He sees red and he's going at an official, and then he's not getting back on defense, and then he's taking a bad shot. You can get him out of a game.
Yeah.
And then you just go physically. He just needs to be in better condition.
He does. Yeah.
And when you look at what he looked like at the beginning of this year compared to now, and even go look at pictures of him from his first couple seasons in the NBA.
Yeah.
It will only help him if he can reach a point where he sees this. And can it be a coach that gets through? Sure. But it doesn't just have to be a head coach. It could be an assistant. It could be someone in his life.
Right.
But Luka's also got to want to do it.
That's the thing. Yeah. I think that's the step that we're just not there yet. For whatever reason, Luka, has all the talent in the world, but there's still things like, I mean, I fully think that if he eventually gets his body right, I think he'll fully understand like how important it is. There's a reason why guys like LeBron James spend millions and millions of dollars on their body, and Chris Paul treats his body like a temple. Like, you have to, if you want to be an NBA player at this elite level, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices.
Mind and body's connected. Get that mind right. Get the body right.
Yeah. I would argue neither is right for him.
Exactly. All right, we got more to get to coming up. Let's venture into the East. Can any team in the West beat anyone in the East? Near the top. We'll talk about that in 60 seconds on the radio side. Deuce and Mo alongside Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports 1140.
Apparently, Paige's son is doing very well at the Nike Hoop Summit right now.
Ooh, what's he doing? Do they have some numbers?
No numbers, just his perimeter size, pace, patience, maturity, smart range of shooting strokes, secondary playmaking, discipline have all stood out.
It's just crazy how many NBA players have like sons that make it to the league.
Right. In general, I mean,
it's like
especially basketball.
It's really like in the blood. It's just so weird to me.
I mean, it makes sense. Genes, obviously. There's also a certain threshold of like, there's not many 6'8" people out there, and so
Imagine if I took after my dad. I'd be like breaking into the station at night, stealing equipment, and selling it. Just like,
it's not even up to you. It's just like part of who you are. Yeah, you're naturally just great at it.
I did run from the cops once.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that story? Is the statute of limitations up?
Yeah, I was like 20 and we were drinking, underage drinking, and I went to my friend's car to get more alcohol, and the cops were out there, and that sucks. I was under the influence, and I just took off running, and they chased me.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Save the rest of the story for the break, Chris. Next break, I'll get to you.
Hey, make sure to check out YouTube for the fantastic story that Deuce is in the middle.
Deuce Mason hanging out with Chris Watkins. Deuce and Mo. Morgan is off. She'll be back tomorrow here on Sactown Sports 1140. We spent so much time talking about the West for good reason. The Kings are going to have to go through the West if they want to even get to the NBA Finals, which seems like a long shot, but the Kings are at the number 3 spot. With the West being so open, you start looking at the other side going, the East. Can a team in the West beat someone at the top of the East? Looking at the East right now, Milwaukee clinched the number 1 spot last night in a game Giannis did not play, but Chris Middleton left in the first quarter with knee soreness. They have wrapped up number 2. They wrapped up number 1. Boston's in second. Philadelphia's number 3. Cleveland 4. The Knicks at 5. All 5 of those teams have clinched. The Nets trying to clinch that 6th spot. Looking at those teams in the East, any of those teams scare you? Do you see a favorite there?
I don't see a favorite. do think that in my opinion, it's between the Bucks and the Celtics. I can't see Philly getting over the hump. James Harden doesn't necessarily usually take his game to another level in the postseason.
Yeah.
He also, him and Embiid, banking on them to play 3 straight series is definitely a gamble. We've also just never seen it. And I feel like, just Milwaukee can match up pretty decently size-wise with Philadelphia. Boston's got the wing aspect to them and all of the guards that they have, which Milwaukee and Philadelphia doesn't have. So I'm excited to see the matchups, but I don't feel like there's to kind of answer the question that you were asking up top is I don't really know if there's a team in the West that stacks up nearly as good. I feel even record wise, I mean, the top 3 records in the NBA are all from the Eastern Conference. And then you get to the Nuggets. It's
I think that's misleading though, because the West is beating each other up a little bit.
Exactly.
I think if you had asked me this question a month ago, I'm like, oh, the East is clearly going to come out and win it.
I agree. Yeah, I do think that it's kind of shifted a little bit more towards the middle.
It's open. Yeah. I think it's wide open. Like, you can make a case for the Bucks right now, just like I can make cases for teams in the West.
Absolutely.
The Bucks thing, I'm just there. The Middleton story is one that you have to keep an eye on. He's missed a lot of games to right knee soreness. He takes a jump shot last night, first play of the game, starts limping. He comes out a few plays later. That's tough. Yeah, that's really tough for them. Boston, I think, has had some shakiness.
Yeah,
with some tough losses that make you think twice.
Celtics fans hate Joe Mazzulla.
Did you see him go after Boucher last night?
I didn't. No.
Yeah, Boucher bumped into him and he started going after him, and the Celtics player to grab him like, "Hey, calm down."
Really?
Yeah, Mazzulla doesn't seem like he's a fan favorite there. No. The Sixers, I think Embiid may have wrapped up the MVP this week.
I think so too. Yeah,
and I think he's played tremendous, but they've had their ups and downs too. Then you get to a team like Cleveland.
Yeah, that could be.
Are they ready?
Horse. I'm not the biggest Donovan Mitchell fan. I'm really not. I just think late in games, it's a lot of Donovan Mitchell, and you're banking on him to make those shots, and he does a good amount of times. He does, but a lot of the time, also he will shoot you out of a game late in the game. But I do really love the combination of Allen and Mobley. I think that's going to present a lot of issues for a lot of teams. It's also they can match up with a team like Milwaukee, who can throw out Giannis and Brook Lopez. They can match that with Mobley and Allen's size as well. Darius Garland, I think, is one of the most, if not the most, underrated point guard we have in the NBA right now. Cleveland's a really, really scary team, and definitely not enough people are talking about them. I think we here probably don't talk about them enough and don't have enough fear just because of the Kings getting the results.
Kings smacked them around too. How about the 19-0 run? That was one of like the peak moments of the Kings season where you went, oh, maybe they are good.
Yeah, definitely. Because especially on the road and that was one of the first instances we saw of the Kings actually playing some deep, winning the game by playing defense and locking down. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't have De'Aaron Fox in that game either. But I definitely think Cleveland is a lot more of a threat. And I truly do think that it is. This is kind of a bailout, but I think that the top 4 in the East, any one of those 4 can come out, and I wouldn't be surprised.
So you're dismissing the Knicks. You're done. I am too. Although, man, they have moments where wonder. Like, I love Quentin Grimes, dude. I love what he brings. He had a big game last night, quickly with a big game.
I hate Julius Randle.
Brunson's been the man.
Yeah, I cannot stand Randle's game.
Yeah, I think Randle shoots them out. I think emotionally he doesn't keep himself composed in games, and he can shoot you out of a game, but then you watch him sometimes, and when he's locked in, you're like, he's a problem. Yeah, I'm with you on the top 4, but then I just look at this and go, okay. I mean, I don't see a true favorite because all of these teams in the NBA,
all, like championship favorite.
No, I know.
Like, even if
all these teams have warts.
Yeah.
I think right now, as of this moment, I'm probably highest on the Warriors at this point. And that's weird to say, as if they're in the 6th spot. I just think they have gotten it together, and people are going to bring up the road record.
Sure.
And I'm going to dismiss it. And I've clowned it this year, but Steph Curry has missed a lot of games this year. Andrew Wiggins has missed a ton of games this year. These guys are back, and getting GP2 back. He was so big for them during their playoff run last year. And that loss was a massive loss when he went to Portland. Getting him back, and now he's healthy. DiVincenzo's been a nice under the radar pickup for them. Having Wiggins back, Kuminga showed flashes. They're not perfect, but the reality is no team in the NBA is perfect right now. And that's what I think makes the league great is you can't really pinpoint, okay, this team has a chance.
Yeah,
or
I
this
think
team is the front runner. Rather.
something I didn't consider with Wiggins coming back. I didn't even consider the Kuminga aspect of it, because I do think on top of the Warriors missing GP2 a lot, they have strangely really missed Otto Porter as well. And
yeah, and
Bielitsa, right? Completely forgot about Nemanja. And just the fact of Wiggins coming back does add that layer of length. And they don't have the top end height with the Draymond and Looney like we were talking about earlier, but they have the ability to play bigger. But they, with Wiggins coming back, have the ability to they can throw out some size out there as well. If they want to go with a really long lineup of, Clay, Poole, Wiggins, Kuminga, or something like that, they can throw that out there. And again, like that's the kind of lineup that as long as they can match size wise with other teams, I think that'll be a saving grace for Golden State, is the fact that they can, if they cannot, I think that their biggest weakness is their size and their potential to get beat on the boards. And if they can alleviate that, I completely agree that there's no reason why any team should feel confident about playing them.
Unless the Kings smack them around in the first round. And then we are having NBA Finals games. Could you imagine if the Kings went to the NBA Finals this year?
No, absolutely not. I mean, like I can see the potential path there, but it feels like it's 1%.
So imagine if they somehow, let's just play a dream scenario for a second, okay? They win in the Western Conference Finals. They win and they clinch on the road.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the airport is like when they return? Western Conference champion Sacramento Kings.
It's there won't be enough parking spots at the airport. I mean, there will literally be they'll probably have to sell tickets to that. Honestly,
it's going to look like Argentina when they won the World Cup.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
Where the team bus doesn't move and they have to get helicoptered out.
Yep. No, legit. It would be crazy. It would be absolutely crazy, and we should probably throw a parade regardless.
Oh, I agree. Well, coming up next, buckle up. Christopher Laud says it's going to be a good one. It's story time with Christopher Laud, baby. It's coming up next. Deuce Mo on Sactown Sports 1140. Tinkle time.
Me? Okay. I'm in trouble.
Good job, Scooter. I'm glad you try to keep Tinkle Time going with me out. Tinkle Time. Oh, boy. I like that we're watching the Masters in standard def in here. Chris, that was you.
Literally don't think that we have high definition television. Do we?
Yes, you do.
Oh.
Come on.
I have the lowest expectations for this place.
I'm surprised it makes standard def still. Like I thought.
What's the point?
Yeah, but I guess it's still a thing.
Oh yeah, this is much better quality.
You know, some people have been doing. What's up, Simone? How are you doing? Some people have been doing AEW and like WrestleMania too. They like I don't know how it works with the technology. But they make it like old TV quality.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Did you
I've
see?
seen.
Go ahead.
I was gonna
Oh,
say,
you didn't finish your story.
yeah. Randy from
got
the
a minute
cops.
and
When
a
I ran
half.
from the cops.
Yeah.
So I was, underage drinking.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. Went to the car to get more alcohol. We saw cops and we turned around, like probably
Yeah, yeah.
suspiciously turned around, like, hey, what are you guys doing? I just took off running.
Totally.
My
not
friend was
suspicious.
looking at me like, I don't know why he ran. Like
Yeah.
my friend stopped. I ran back to the apartment. I got away. Then the cops come out, go to the apartment, and they
Yeah.
bring me out like, why did you run? Like we were here looking for someone that was breaking into vehicles. You're lucky we didn't tase you.
Yeah.
They get my ID out, and I'm thinking, I'm
Yeah,
so
it's
screwed. I'm
yeah.
underage drinking. Like
You're 20.
I'm like 20. I'm like, I'm working at a radio station.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap,
Get
this sucks.
fired, yeah.
They're gonna call my mom, whatever. He just turned to a sober person there and said, go take him home. And then we got to my friend's house, and I must have been crying, laughing for about an hour straight. Like, why
You-
did I do that?
You are really Michael Cera.
yeah, it was like super bad. It was super bad. It was super bad.
Literally.
Yeah.
And your friend, like they were literally just looking for people, someone who was breaking
Yeah,
into
yeah.
cars.
And
and he
they
was
were
like,
just, hey, what are you guys doing? And I just took off running. So
yeah,
really dumb of me. I don't know.
yeah, it's not great.
Just remember, and the whole point to that is like it was in my blood. My dad,
Yeah,
convict, felon.
Yeah, get away from the cops. You gotta get away from the cop speed.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings went 1-1 on their short road trip, losing their final game 123-119 to the Dallas Mavericks. For more on last night's game, check out our Kings insider Frankie Cardacelli's recap on SactownSports.com. Kings will be back home tomorrow against the Golden State Warriors. You can listen to the game right here on Sactown Sports. The 2023 Masters is currently underway. And right now, we got a tie at the top of the leaderboard. Victor Hovland and John Rahm are both tied at 7 under par. Cameron Young and Brooks Koepka are both tied for the third spot. They're 5 under par. And Tiger Woods is tied for 53rd. He is +2 for the day. Your Masters update is brought to you by Naturewood Home Furnishings, or it's all about choices and always about quality. Those are your headlines. Now more with Deuce and Mo and our guest, Chris Watkins.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo.
Sactown Sports.
Hey, it's Deuce Mason hanging out with Chris Watkins today until 2. Then Kettles and Rami 2 until 6 p.m. on Sactown Sports 1140. Where is Morgan? Where is Morgan? Settle down. All right, she's off today. She's back in action tomorrow, according to the injury report.
No Morgan, dude show.
Yeah, it's been a dude show today for sure. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Christopher Lott in there has hyped up story time today. He said, This is a good one. He was really excited about it. So are you ready for whatever he's bringing to the damn
I'm
table?
excited. I am going over under 2.5 deaths.
Ooh, I'm taking the under today.
Okay.
It's time for story time with Christopher Lott, baby.
We interrupt this program for an important announcement.
It's that time of the day where Christopher Laud gives you the stories that you need to hear. Or maybe not. Story time.
Story time with Christopher Lott, baby.
I think as we discussed, I've got 2 very good ones
Okay.
that will be used on Friday.
Okay.
We can't leave Mo out of it. Sorry, Chris.
Oh,
that's fine.
okay. So
That's
you're not good enough to hear these.
No,
That's
no,
what
no.
he's
I thought he
saying.
still had some in reserve.
I've got
no?
some good ones.
Okay.
I got some
Okay.
good ones today.
Okay. Like B+. Well,
Well,
that's not great.
We've got some.
Okay.
We've
Okay.
got some good ones.
Okay.
So let's start with Los Angeles. This comes courtesy of WrestlingNews.co.
Oh, my man. Yes.
Okay.
Kevin Huntsberger was told to leave SoFi Stadium on day 2 of WrestleMania for impersonating an officer.
Oh my God! Please tell me it's what I think it is.
The officer in question was the Big Boss Man.
Yes, I knew it.
Kevin was dressed as the Big Boss Man, and his friend was dressed as the Mountie, in an obvious nod to the two's loser spends a night in jail match of SummerSlam 91. The first night they wore the costumes, had no problems, had a great time. But it was on day 2. Kevin was on his way to the stadium, just doing everything that he did the day before, when a security guard told him he could not come in for impersonating an officer. He also pointed at the Georgia badge on his sleeve. So he said, okay, I'll take the badge off. He took the badge off. Still wasn't good enough for the guard. So he said, so he took the badge off. It wasn't good enough. Fans and other security guards said, like, hey, dude, he's dressed as the Big Boss Man. No one thinks he's a cop here.
Hall of Famer, Big Boss Man.
Let him go. Still wasn't good. So unfortunately, Kevin had to go back to his car, change into his Big Boss Man t-shirt, and come into the stadium.
I love that he had t-shirt.
I was just about to say, I love that he had the backup.
Yeah.
Probably from day 1, actually.
And by the way, I like how you changed the name from Kevin. It was actually Nick Cattle.
Yes, yes, I didn't know. Yeah.
Dressed as
Nick
Boss Man.
Nick was dressed as the Big Boss Man, and Kelly was dressed as a Mountie.
Yeah.
So talk to them on there. Go into the YouTube chat and ask him about that. See Phil.
That's one of my favorite things that wrestling fans do is when they dress as obscure wrestlers. Like in Big Boss Man, I would say I know he's a Hall of Fame, but he's an obscure, like he's not a household name.
Yeah,
you don't just obviously, Whereas like The Rock, Austin, Hogan, like you know those names, Ric Flair.
Right.
No one knows Big Boss Man, but when they dress, like I did a Good Day Sacramento hit one time. And it was great because WWE was in town, and there was this guy I knew who was obsessed, and he dressed as Tyler Breeze. And which you don't know the name.
Not even.
Yeah, exactly. So I told him, hey, we're going to do a thing at your apartment, like dress up, blah, blah, blah. And I showed up with this guy named Cesaro, a wrestler at his house from WWE.
Yeah.
The guy stayed in full character with Cesaro going face to face. It was awesome. But yeah, it was like, you really dressed as Tyler Breeze. Out of all the characters, I love that.
What? I have so many questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like,
fire away, please.
Security guard. How do we feel about security guard who's clearly taking his job too seriously?
You know, I'd rather him take it too seriously than not serious enough.
Right.
No, when other security guards are telling you, hey, dude, this guy's fine.
Yeah, like this has got to be like some old dude who's probably been, well, I guess not SoFi security, but probably been security for like 15, 20 years. Never let one bad incident happen.
What was worse, Big Boss Man early 90s edition or late 90s?
When he was hung,
I think
the Hell in the Cell.
Yeah. Well, I'd still say early 90s was kind of bad.
I mean, I love both Big Boss Men.
A little problematic.
Yeah.
So
wasn't all
that's true.
Like early 90s.
Oh yeah. When you go back and look
wrestling
at
is problematic.
Yes, very much. Well, look who the guy was running it. Or still
very
running
true.
It.
Very
all right,
true.
what's next on story time?
Oh man. So let's see. Where do we want to go? Do you want to go to Italy or do you want to go to Cape Canaveral?
Italy. Let's go.
Italy. This is courtesy of Global News. Using English in Italy could cost you 100,000 euros.
Wow. Okay.
That's if the Nationalist Brothers of Italy party get their way.
Oh.
They are proposing. Yeah, that's a name, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was like,
they are proposing a law that would ban governments and corporations from using English in official communications and have fines of up to 100,000 euros. The party is looking to stop the rise of what they call Anglomania and wants to protect and conserve the Italian language.
Isn't it funny how all of the same buzzwords are used all around the world?
Yes. Yes, very much so.
They also say the spread of English demeans and mortifies the Italian language. The bill has yet to go to debate, but Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is backing the bill, which is strange because she occasionally drops foreign words into her speeches, including calling herself an underdog in her inaugural address to Parliament.
Wow. You know, I do wish I could speak other languages. It always fascinates me when like Sabonis post game, like a Spanish, speaking Spanish, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Like,
go ahead.
There's a lot of people who speak like 3 languages. You come to America, we could barely speak English. You know,
Chris, is your family fluent in Spanish at all?
No, it's like it's bad because like my grandparents are like don't speak Spanish.
Yeah,
like you guys, we don't want you to speak. And then you learn like why. And it's just like, oh,
See,
you just have to face like a whole bunch of racism all your lives. Like,
my mom speaks like fluent Spanish. All my aunts, uncles, grandma.
And you don't.
I do not speak
Wow.
a lick.
Why
Like,
is that? Did they not speak it in front of you?
a lot of my pretty much. I mean, and yeah, my mom says that me and my sister just were like adamant as children, like, why are you trying to, which I
That's
deeply
crazy.
Yeah, that's
greatly
right,
regret.
right.
Like, what an L for
But
me
do,
and my
do you
sister.
think that was because of like society a little bit?
It was probably. It was probably just like a why am I doing like
My
like, it's
grandpa
only
used to
around-
say, if you're in this country, you
Yeah,
speak
of
English.
course.
Like, oh God, you hear that? I'm like, oh God.
yeah, it's
What?
well, I heard stories like this is in Sacramento in the either 40s or 50s, and my uncle was telling me about it. Just like, oh yeah,
oh yeah. I mean, you
Mexicans
don't
were
talk
only
it-
allowed to go to the theater on certain days. It's like, wait, what? He's just like, yeah, that was a real thing. And like,
Yeah.
oh man,
No, it was definitely like one of those things. Yeah, my mom tells me all the time, like you didn't speak it at school
Yeah.
because everyone would look at you and be like, what's
Yeah.
wrong with this
my
kid?
my grandma's neighborhood completely taken out for I-5, which
Yeah,
is like
that
crazy to
definitely
think about.
happened. Yeah, a lot of the freeway construction was
That's
pretty
really
pivotal.
bad, and also like terrible planning. By the
The
way,
freeway-
not only what they did to displace people, but
yeah,
hey, let's separate old Sacramento and downtown. Put a freeway in between. That'll
Yeah.
really help, like with
Yeah.
the connection from downtown to the river.
yeah.
Because we don't want to put
Sucks.
it on
Could've been
the
flow.
West Sacramento side where there's literally nothing
Yeah,
there.
there's nothing
Nothing
there.
there, yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and put it right smack. Wow.
Yeah.
What's the next one story? We don't have time for any more, do we?
I can get a quick one
Okay,
in.
all
Let's go to Cape Canaveral.
Let's
This
do
is
it.
courtesy of Click Orlando.
Where is Cape Canaveral? Is that in Florida?
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
that's where the shuttles take off from, or took
Oh,
off from.
okay.
Who doesn't love karaoke? I think we all love karaoke.
We all
I
love it. Yeah,
very
yeah.
much.
In the case
I
of
dislike
Travis
it.
Jordan, he might like karaoke a little too much.
Okay.
Now pay attention to this. In the early afternoon on Sunday, Travis was denied another karaoke song, and that is when he pulled out an 18-inch machete.
Oh.
A woman was able to get
man.
Travis to peacefully hand over the machete, and that is when others called the police. They were freaking out. Travis was arrested and charged with breach of the peace.
You know, I'll say this: there is, as much as I love karaoke, and I've been to many spots with karaoke, the people who take it too
Yeah.
serious, I
Yes,
can't. Like
don't
the
be that
ones that
person.
are
It's
like,
their stage.
it's like I'm up there
Yeah.
6 times, and then it seems like they never do songs that everyone likes. It's
Right,
like
which is
deeply
the
personal.
point.
It's
of
so
karaoke.
annoying. It's like,
Yeah.
no, get the vibes going. Everyone's into it. Oh, I
Yeah.
like that song. It's like, no, I'm doing this one. Yeah.
I
What's
just really love
worse,
that song.
that karaoke person or the karaoke DJ who does like every other song, and you're just like, dude,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, we got
yeah.
more coming up, but first I got one. And it'd be one thing too, if you're unless you kill it, if you are legitimately like a great singer, I'm
great
into it. Let's
stage
see whatever.
performance too.
I'm all,
yeah.
but they're never that good.
No.
You're like, you're not that.
Yeah.
Why are you hogging the stage, man?
Usually like 6 drinks in too.
Yeah.
It's like, like this is not like we're not here to see you.
Yeah, I'm here to sing some stupid song with my
Yeah.
friends and like
And
enjoy
laugh
it.
and
Yeah.
get a
Yeah.
little quick Instagram video out of it and call it a day.
Has anyone gotten famous from doing something at a karaoke place? No.
no.
Just if you bring out a machete. Oh,
Oh,
by the way,
This guy
where-
just got
where
famous.
was my man concealing the 18-inch 18?
He was
Well,
ready.
I didn't add this, but he held it. He had it hidden on his person, and he said that he had it for protection because he was threatened the day before.
Oh, you threatened me. You don't allow me to do karaoke song. Oh, shit, he's coming out.
That is insane.
All right, we've got much more coming up. Final segment. Then we got Cals and Rami.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Deuce and Mo with Chris Watkins on Sactown Sports 1140. People are wild, man. When's the last time you did karaoke?
I hate karaoke. I can't stand it. It's not for me at all.
So you were lying.
Wait, I can't.
No, I raised my. You said who amongst us doesn't like karaoke? I raised my hand.
I
I
thought
said
you-
who here
very-
loves karaoke.
Wait, time out.
Oh, no, I
What
very
you-
much dislike karaoke.
What do you dislike about karaoke?
I don't like the stage.
Yeah.
I don't need people looking at me.
I
Also, I'm
can't. I
not
can't
trying to
see. I
sing a
can't see Chris
song.
having
Yeah,
a good
like,
time doing that.
No, not for me.
Hmm.
I'm not I don't like a lot of attention on me. Don't like the eyes on me.
You got
focus
you
on me.
do a show every day, and then
I
you have
know.
cameras
That's
on you.
why
Yeah,
I'm
interesting.
not trying to avoid looking at the as I have the straight.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Trying to avoid looking at myself as much as possible. I mean, yeah.
Meanwhile,
I mean,
I'm the opposite. Give me a camera.
well,
Let's go.
Yeah, you're definitely a little more like you have that stage presence to you though. You have like that gravitas.
It's all fake.
I know.
And
That's what's so funny.
I'm in the middle
That's
of both you
honestly
guys.
what's so
I
funny.
don't like,
I feel like I would think that you're more like me, where you're like
Yeah.
very reserved and
but
not.
like certain situations.
Yeah, give
like
you enough
karaoke,
drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like.
Because like this is so stupid to talk about, but it's like it's almost like you're another persona. You're not
Yes, no,
yourself when you're doing
100%.
karaoke.
Yeah,
so that's what I feel like
Yeah,
when I do. I can do it that way.
Yeah. no, I can't.
That's why
I'm too real, bro.
I think
can't.
wrestling has helped me with that. Just watching
I've-
wrestling, you know what I
I've
mean? It's just like-
psychoanalyzed you and have
Yeah.
realized that.
but
That's
I'm like a chill.
definitely what it
If
is.
I'm just hanging out, I'm a chill person. I'm
Yeah.
not like the center of attention.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like,
not
"Wow." I'm like, yeah, let's go. I
Yeah.
mean, but it's like
Yeah.
if I'm doing a show, I'm gonna get
you
into
gotta,
it.
yeah, you gotta build it up. It's someone.
And it's fun. I mean,
Again, like there's Dave and then there's Deuce, right?
I guess I don't think so. I think this is all me. This is me. It's like no,
I mean,
I'm.
well, yeah.
This is like if an NBA player went to go shoot around, he's not going like he is
right.
in
He's
an
not
NBA
going full
game.
tilt. Right.
That's how I look at it. If I'm hanging out, I'm not
Some level
going
of
it like I'm
intensity,
doing a show.
Right. I
don't
feel
know.
that. Yeah. No. I mean, it's all just part of. I mean, like, yeah, I don't enjoy talking to people in general, but obviously, me.
It's so weird that you say that when you do a show.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I told you, I've told Nate this. Like, I don't enjoy talking.
Have you
I
enjoyed
don't-
this today?
I feel like I've given like a C+ on it. If I could grade myself,
You're so.
I would
harsh
give
on
myself
yourself.
a C+
No,
for
you're
today.
Chris
being-
is harsh on everybody though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where am I at today? Like a.
You're just killing it. You're just
Okay,
like, you're just
stop
always
it,
like a
stop.
solid. Today's
No.
like, I wouldn't say you've gone above and beyond today, but like you've been
I've given what
B+.
I could.
Yeah, B+, A-. I know.
Okay.
I know the. It's you're on a back to back, to back to back,
Time
back
out.
to back to back.
You're being way too harsh on yourself, though.
If you're not going to be harsh on yourself, who will? People will lie to you, say you did so good today, and be like, yeah, really? I felt
I mean, I
bad
feel
about that
that's-
second segment.
I do feel that way about my performance too. Sometimes,
Yeah.
I definitely get in that where I'm like,
It's
"Ah."
fine. It's fine. Like, it's not like
It's
I'm
good.
down on myself for it. It's more just like I'm being honest with myself, and I'm like, was that the best that I could have done today? Probably not. And like, I felt uncomfortable. Not today, but like I felt uncomfortable in that situation, or that wasn't the best toss or lead in or something like that. And
Yeah.
you can't give yourself an A. So sometimes you're just
No,
like, and
it's
then
good.
emotionally, I'm just like, not feeling 100% of
Yeah.
giving my best.
It's good to have that ability to critique yourself and hold yourself accountable.
Yeah,
There's a lot of times you can make mistakes and no one else notices. But
yeah.
you do, and that just
Yeah.
shows that you.
I think it's a
want it.
blessing and a curse, right? Because
It
I
can
would
be.
love to not think about, especially like you're saying, like something small like that. I would love to just be like, oh, that was small.
yeah.
Like, who really cares?
Me and
But-
Maureen had something last night where
Yeah.
she called Luka. She called him a B.
just in
He's-
general,
he's
just
And
yeah,
I on the pod, I was like,
a bozo.
Morgan.
Yeah, like this little, especially for her.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce on Sactown Sports.
Man, it's crazy looking at the secondary market. All these ticket websites that are listing Kings tickets. I know they officially go on sale to the general public on Monday. Demand's out of this world, of course. And, some season ticket holders have already purchased them. They're
Mhm.
listing them. Dude, it is crazy how expensive they are. I have a question for you, Chris Watkins.
Yeah.
If you were being like irresponsible,
Uh-huh.
and have you ever been irresponsible with money?
No,
Never?
because
Yeah,
it's
okay.
unfortunately it's tough to make that money back.
No, but there's some people who like don't have money and are just like, I don't.
Yeah, no, there's people. Yeah,
I'm
who are
just, I
like,
don't care.
It will come. Money comes and
Yeah.
goes. I am like that.
If
sometimes
you were
sometimes.
irresponsible,
Money, spend it now, make more later.
Yeah, that's what people who are irresponsible say.
all right. Well,
the
maybe this question's gonna be tough for you to answer. I was
No.
gonna say, if irresponsible Chris was buying tickets to
Yeah.
a playoff game, what would irresponsible Chris's max
Yeah, I
be
can
on a
guess.
ticket
It
just to get in?
my max ticket to get in would probably have to be like 400 to get in.
Okay.
That would be really crazy.
And
But
that's for game one or
that's-
any game.
realistically for any game, beggars can't be choosers.
What about you, Christopher Ladd? If you were irresponsible, you're like, I don't care.
I'm also
Like,
broke.
I know I don't really have money, but I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go ahead and do it. What's
I've got a personal rule of
Okay.
never spending more than $100 for a ticket.
You're not.
What?
You're not going to a lot.
I
of
know I'm
events.
not going.
Wow. Even
That's a
being
fine line.
irresponsible, you're like $100. That's my cap.
Yeah.
World Cup.
Oh, I'm not going to World Cup. No, but I actually been talking to people about going actually to Mexico for the World Cup, which would actually probably be a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
I'm
Interesting.
The most I have ever spent on a ticket would be when I went to AEW Grand Slam. It's been like $525 to sit, but I sat ringside.
See, that's what I was going to say too. Is I'm the type of person who, when I do break that seal, I'm just like, okay, well, why am I just trying to get in? I might as well like. What's if I'm spending 400? What's 600 to get down lower level?
To me, it's about like, I had the money to do it then, but it was also like I don't spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
so
right.
if I'm spending, I'm going to do it on something cool. And I'm like, wait, a wrestling show at Arthur Ashe. I happen to be in New York City.
Exactly.
It's a big thing. I'm going to go. I'm going to a show, an AEW show. Let's go.
No, that's not irresponsible at all. That's as a matter of fact, that's the opposite. That's almost letting yourself live. That's letting yourself, that's a reward. That's a prize.
I've been spoiled in this business where I've gotten a lot of free tickets to things and sit like last time AEW was in Sacramento.
Front and center.
Sat ringside. I didn't pay anything for it.
Yeah.
And now when I pay for stuff, I feel like I have to be close. Like I'm going to
you're like Jerry Seinfeld where he's like, oh, I have to sit first class because I've been in first class.
Yes. I never want to like a bad friend.
No,
one of my favorite podcasts, Bad Friends.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm sitting first row and I paid for the meet and greet.
I do have a Golden One Center policy where there's no need to sit in the upper deck. Like the lower level is so much better than the upper level at Golden One Center. The upper level not having the cup holders is annoying. It is annoying. Also, just like the fear factor. Like if you're in row K or something in that upper level and you are sitting in the middle, you feel like you're about to. I don't know if you've ever been up there, Deuce. I don't know if you've gone up with us common folk, but
a couple of
up
things.
there, it feels like you're going to fall onto the court.
That's not fair. That's not fair because I actually have a seat at the game because I work on the I actually don't get to go to a game as a fan. I sit at every game and at the top of 106 next to G-Man.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. So I think come for playoffs, I tell people all the time, just get in the building.
It's also different too with the Sierra Nevada Draft House as well.
Just get in the building. Yeah. I went to a Kings playoff game when I was like 14, 15 years old. I sat at the very top.
Like where your feet are on the upper concourse.
It was like they're not even chairs. Yeah. They're like they put those chairs in. They're just plastic seats that they added. And I had the time of my life.
Yeah.
I think being in the building for a playoff game is just fun. So if you can afford it and you can get in, just go. Even if it's standing room. Like it's one game.
I would argue standing room at Golden One Center's the better route to go. I mean, the fact that you get to stand on the lower bowl, to me, that's a much better idea.
I've done standing room at Giants playoff games. I did. I remember in 2010, I actually sat final weekend of the year when they clinched against the Padres. Friday night, I standing room at the arcade level, and it was awesome. I stood the whole time, but I didn't. It's about the energy for me. I'm about the atmosphere.
Yeah. I would even suggest, like, I don't know what Doco will look like during the playoff games, but if I couldn't afford a ticket, I would go stand outside Doco. You can isn't the point of
I don't think you could see in though.
Yeah, but you can still get the vibe.
I would go somewhere close by and be ready to go. Be at Punch Bowl or the
Cantina.
Is it what's it called?
Sauce. There's Yard House.
No, but the Mexican food place upstairs.
Cantina. Yeah, the Cantina.
That's not what it's called.
No, it's called
it's not
Polanco.
Polanco. Thank you, Chris. Yeah. Cantina Alley. I'm very familiar.
Oh, my spot. Rami likes that spot too.
Really?
He's a big Cantina Alley guy.
By far, I think that might be the best spot in Sacramento.
Not during summer.
Definitely.
Not during summer.
Why?
It's so hot. You're like dying in there.
I would never.
You feel like you're actually like in Mexico.
It's an evening spot. It's I've been there at night, and you're just like you feel like you're in a different world.
Yeah,
man.
no, it is.
It's amazing.
The vibes are pretty great there. They do a really good job of the immersion in there. It really does feel like you're in like a legitimate Mexican spot,
dude. Well, it's been fun today, man. I appreciate you hanging out.
Thank you.
Made
Even
life
my
easier
C+
for me.
effort, you liked it?
You did way better than a C+, dude. You're way too hard on yourself.
B-.
What does Chris Watkins do on a night with no Kings game? Like what's on?
Like what's specifically tonight?
Yeah.
Well,
you have Denver Phoenix tonight, but like if you're not watching an NBA game, what are you watching?
Well, actually on Thursdays I do have
volleyball,
softball.
sports?
I do volleyball on Monday, softball
Damn,
on
dude,
Thursday.
you're so active. That's cool, man.
Literally the only active thing that I do. But yeah, it is like crazy amount of fun to still play.
Do you play with
sports.
anyone here? Is Frankie there?
No, I would love to. Jay Johnson plays softball in a different league. He's a lot better than I am.
Yeah,
but-
he's played at a high level.
So I can't sit with him, but no, but I would love to. I know we used to have a company softball team. I would love to get that back together. A little concerned about the quality.
Say, who here would you
concerned
want?
about the quality.
Not many people here you'd want on your team.
I love everyone here. I cannot think of a single person necessarily that I voluntarily want to sign up.
Oh,
Sorry,
shots
I know
fired at
Jason Ornelas.
Simone.
I know Jason Ornelas is a good player,
All
engineer. So maybe
Well,
that.
coming up next, we got Kettles and
Let's
Rami.
do it.
We'll be back live tomorrow, Friday. Chris will be live at 10, and then we'll be on from 11 to 2.
Don't miss it.
Do not miss it. We love you guys, but we got to go.